Thursday. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Yeah, I know.
Soft.
If I shout, I promise you I'll get thrown out of the house I'm broadcasting from, and we will not have a show today. Well, actually, we will. It just will be 2/3 because I will either be murdered or looking for a broadcast location.
Soft.
I know it.
Wow.
Gosh, you know what? I knew this was going to happen, and I felt self-conscious, and I knew you guys were going to do this.
I asked you not to bring it up, and you brought it up. You did exactly what I asked you not to do.
So, yeah, we are unfortunately together, but far apart. I'm up in LA. I've got a couple of things to do up here this morning and this afternoon. So, unfortunately, I'm not in San Diego, and I'm away from the guys. They're back in the home studios at San Diego Sports 760. Okay, so let's start here because I didn't get my normal warm-up with you fellas. Like we normally have like a group hug that lasts an uncomfortable 10 minutes, and a lot of people walk by the studio, which has, a lot of windows looking in, and they say, gosh, they do that every morning. We're like, every morning. It's an exchange of energy.
Why are their pants all outside?
And TD is so handsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is Fletch so sweaty? Anyways.
Dude, I tell you what,
oil that keeps this machine greased.
it's a lot weirder when it's just me and TD doing that group hug.
Yep. Yeah. But you know what we do is just go. We go nose to nose. not the normal prom date style that we do.
I will be right there, time after time. Everybody always is concerned about the playlist too. It's a lot of Bryan Adams. It's a lot.
You know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Robin Hood.
How are you guys doing?
Really good. How have you been, Richard?
It was a little bit of a haul to get up here. Everybody who lives in San Diego knows driving up to Los Angeles, it is a little bit like opening the box of chocolates in Forrest Gump. You really never know what you're going to get. And yesterday was one of those days where we took 4 stops on our way. We could have been in Wyoming. Like, we could have driven to Laramie in the time it took to get to LA yesterday.
4 planned stops or unplanned stops?
Mostly unplanned.
Okay. All right.
Did Annie puke or did the kids puke?
Actually, no one puked, thankfully, and that has happened. But yesterday, dude, there was an impromptu mall visit. I don't want to get into it.
Wow.
It was nonsense.
Wow.
Like it was like the start of Gilligan's Island. It was supposed to be a 3-hour tour. It was not. And so we made it safely though. And good morning to everybody who's listening around San Diego. We Southern California. We are very, very interested to see actually what happens maybe just a stone's throw away from where I'm sitting right now in Los Angeles, because the Chargers, guys, the Chargers might just make the splashiest head coach signing of the offseason. And if I was going to pull out the old 2024 bingo card and said, okay, Chargers splashy signing, that ping pong ball is going to find its way to the top. But here we are.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought so, but I'm happy you're up there. We got boots on the ground in case anything happens.
That's right. I'll run right over. I'll interview Jim Harbaugh.
I honestly, so yesterday I said if I was 20% in on this, I mean, after yesterday morning's news, maybe I'm 22%. All of a sudden that needle's moved to 60, 65. I mean, mostly because I still can't really believe that this could happen. I mean, it's so un-Charger.
Now, call me crazy, but and forgive me if I'm just wrong here, but the Daily Caller is the website that has this article. His name's Andrew Powell, the guy that wrote it. I'm not familiar with Andrew, but the opening line leads me to believe I don't really value his work at a high level, because the first line is the Chargers brand has always been sexy and it's about to get elevated.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, who's writing it? But actually,
now, maybe Andrew Powell is top notch.
Hang on. Andrew Powell is an entertainment. Wait, what is it again?
Sports and entertainment blogger.
Yeah, which everybody knows when you're introduced as a sports and entertainment blogger. Like,
now, look, Andrew might be completely buttoned up. He might be a fantastic writer. I'm not familiar with his work, but he's the one who's kind of has the article that the Jim Harbaugh deal is really close to happening in LA.
Right, but he's going off of information not that he didn't dig up, that he's getting from outside sources. One of those is Armando Salguero, who is a AP writer, Outkick, Fox News, senior NFL writer, a Hall of Fame voter. So it's a guy who's well connected in the NFL, and he's saying, look, if this was a Jim Harbaugh Chargers marriage, then the music is playing and the bride is walking down the aisle right now. They are that close to saying I do.
So my rule in Major League Baseball is I don't believe anything until I see Jeff Passan tweet about it.
Okay.
My rule in the NFL is I got two guys, Ian Rappaport and I got Adam Schefter. And once I see something from them, which Schefter did put out something a couple days ago saying that Harbaugh is going for his second interview. He's bringing his family. That led me to put my number up to like 65 if TDU were at 22. I just still don't know where I'm at right now, and I'm not going to believe it until I see it because I do know who the Los Angeles Chargers are.
Yeah, so Ian Rappaport jumped on Good Morning Football. Now, we haven't listened to this, Fletch. This I just added to the rundown. So the NFL Network's Good Morning Football, every morning, he usually does a visit per week, if not a couple, and he gives the updates, especially during really tumultuous times in like, it is following the regular season or going to the postseason where all of these seats are getting really, really warm for certain teams and then vacancies appear. So the coaching carousel has been spinning for a while. This would be the biggest name to land a new job in football if Jim Harbaugh accepts a deal to go to the Chargers. Here's Ian this morning on Good Morning Football. Okay, so you look at Jim Harbaugh, and this story means two things to me. A, it means that either the Spanos family have decided amongst themselves, like, okay, no more. The buck stops here. We moved to Los Angeles to become a quote unquote big time team, right? We moved to LA to compete for a bigger market, make more money, do all those things that we said to our fan base, whatever fans they kept after relocating, that we were going to do. And we haven't done any of them yet. We got lucky on a draft pick because that's what it is. Let's be very honest with each other. There's a lot of really talented talent personnel directors, general managers who have missed on first-round draft picks at quarterback. But the Chargers didn't. They got Justin Herbert. They have a franchise quarterback right now. What they don't have and haven't had for over a decade and a half is a real head coach. So maybe it's internal pressure that they've created on themselves. The other way to look at it is maybe there was external pressure. Check this out. I mean, and this is obviously not something that's been reported anywhere. This is just my own speculation. Dean Spanos and the Chargers family has not paid back a single cent of their relocation fee. They have gone to LA and they've won nothing. I'm curious if the NFL, because they're now in the second biggest media market in the country, hasn't applied some external pressure to them and said, hey, look, you guys need to do something splashy here. Like, I know you want to go cheap, and I know this, and I know that, and times are tough, and your sister's suing you, Dino. Like, we get it. But we've all been very patient with you. It's time for you to make some news because LA is a big market, and if you want to be a big market team like you told us, you guys need to go after the biggest fish in the pond, and maybe that's the reason why they're so in on Harbaugh.
I was hanging out with John and Jim for a little bit yesterday while they were doing their show down at Viejas Arena, and Schaefer brought up a really good point, which we know the Spanos family cash situation is less than good. In fact, it's bad. They're one of the least liquid ownership groups in the entire NFL. They just paid Justin Herbert $262 million.
Yep.
So when you're looking at Jim Harbaugh and what he's going to cost, if the number 125, which is floated out there a little bit, if that's accurate, do the Spanos family even have enough to put into escrow? Because that's what you have to do in the NFL, especially with coaching contracts. You have to show year after year that you have the money available to pay Jim Harbaugh. And even if they do have that money to pay Jim Harbaugh, because they are an NFL ownership group, you can take loans, you can do other things. What does that mean for their free agent signings? What does that mean for mortgaging their future? So I know $125 million doesn't seem like much to these owners that are billionaires. I just feel like it's a different situation with the Chargers and the Spanos family, where that amount of money is significant.
Yeah, no, you're right. And also, I mean, the Chargers have to be looking at this, though, as an investment. If they're going to bring somebody in who they actually believe can go get some wins, the Chargers will start to make money. I mean, they could make that money back. It is a business. So if you want to pour some money into it to build up your business, good on them. Rich, I'm curious, I mean, because you know the inside scoop here on the NFL. How much pressure would the NFL put on the Chargers, not just to make a splash here, but at some point would they go, look, you got to pay back your debts here, man. You got to pay this moving fee.
Well, I'm curious if it wasn't something that was a little bit more, I don't know. Like, so say Jerry Jones or say one of the big wigs in the NFL, Robert Kraft, the Hunt family out there in Kansas City. Last time the owners meet, say they're complaining about the Chargers, right? Geez, like these guys haven't paid back a red cent. We gave them the go ahead because Dean was a good soldier this whole time. He's helped us out in a lot of ways to go up to Los Angeles, but now they're kind of living off of the Rams, and Stan Kroenke is getting all pissed off. Like I could see a lot of the older, more successful owners in the NFL starting to get a little uncomfortable with the situation the Chargers have in Los Angeles. And so I could see something like this, like where Roger Goodell is thinking about his job, is Operation Human Shield. He takes all the flack for the owners. Like he is the forward-facing, he's the face of the league side of the NFL, right? When we think NFL, we think Commissioner Roger Goodell. So he does that, but he also does this. He has to be the glue guy for the ownership. So I think maybe he whispers into Dean's ear. He goes, hey, listen, the block's getting a little hot, Dean, right? Like these guys behind closed doors and between you and me, they're not thrilled that you're in Los Angeles and you're not doing much with Justin Herbert. Like Justin Herbert's a star.
Yeah.
And look, social media is fun and you guys do a great job. Whatever intern you guys hired a couple of years ago, she's really doing a nice job. So good on you. Round
Remember
of applause.
that Dicker the Kicker video? Come on.
Yeah. Now. I mean, come on, Cameron Dicker. I mean, he should have been a Pro Bowler. We all know that. But it's me, Raj. And Dean, like we could be on the level right here for a second. If you don't do something big, the grumblings are going to start turning into roars. And we know what happened with Jerry Richardson down there in Carolina. It wasn't well liked. And all of a sudden, as soon as there was a little, sexual misconduct thing around the office place in Carolina, they kicked him right out. And they brought in David Tepper, right? Where like this league isn't afraid to make major changes. So all I'm saying is maybe do something splashy this offseason. So you're right, Fletch. Maybe they did mortgage their future. Maybe they did overspend. Maybe they took out loans like the Padres did, right? Like Peter Seidler and the Padres, they're a little upside down right now. Maybe they did all those things, but maybe it was because they had to.
I'm curious to see how this shakes out. Now, before we get to TD's halftime, which I know is a highlight on this show every single day, and people really look forward to it. It's appointment radio is what it is.
Yo, absolutely. That's why we change the time of it every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
How does Jim Harbaugh work with the Chargers if he does get the job? Like looking forward, would he be the right coach for their situation?
Okay. Real quick. He's a culture builder. Everywhere he's been, he's had almost immediate success, right? He walks through the doors, he starts, pulling out the guts of the thing, and he puts it back together the way it's supposed to be done. And then when you look at a quarterback who he had success with before leaving and handing the program over to David Shaw, like an Andrew Luck, he knows how to handle a comparable quarterback. I think Jim Harbaugh is a quirky guy who probably gets more attention for all of the personality stuff. And he doesn't get as much attention for how good of a ball coach he is. his players love him. The one thing you didn't hear out of that Michigan locker room is anybody dissenting.
Yeah, but
Like,
the
they-
one thing you heard out of the San Francisco locker room is people dissenting.
Yeah, well,
So is it a different story coaching college kids than it is coaching pros? I think that's a big part of it.
That's where I was going to get to. The problem is when he did coach professionals, the message went stale after a couple of years. So that's what he needs to be careful of. Look, certain coaches, the second time around is more successful than the first time around. Just look at Bill Belichick. First time around with the Browns wasn't as successful as the second time around with the Patriots. Now, obviously, that's exceptional, but who knows? Jim Harbaugh has been an exceptional coach everywhere he's been, and even for a time in San Francisco. So we'll see if it's successful this time around with the Chargers.
Well, elsewhere in the NFL, the Raiders have hired Tom Telesco as their next general manager. He's a former Charger exec, as we're talking Chargers. And put on your tinfoil hats, boys, because the Baltimore Raven fans, it's time to push the panic button. There's a ref in the NFL who has given the road teams a massive edge. In fact, he is the number one highest rate of road team wins, and he's going to be calling the Chiefs game out in Baltimore. His name is Sean Smith.
Of course he is.
Yep. So, I mean, look, I think the NFL needs to get away from the conspiracy theory of the color matchup with the logos. They're going to have to throw the red Chiefs in that, right? Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
come
makes
on.
sense.
Yeah, so I mean, you might as well just
Against
go
the
ahead and throw the game.
Blue Lions? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I mean, I didn't say that part, but I mean, since you bring it up, maybe. In college hoops, the Aztecs took down Wyoming last night at Viejas Arena. They win 81-65. Lamont Butler dropped 23. Jaden Ledee put down 17. Aztecs improved to 16-4 on the season in the NBA. Tristan Thompson has been suspended 25 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug program. Horrible case of ringworm out there.
How is he
really
still
sad.
in the league?
Well, I don't know. Topical ointments.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Those creams and salves.
Mhm.
I mean, as we've learned with Fernando Tatis Jr., occasionally, you think you're treating ringworm, and meanwhile, you're firing up on all sorts of testosterone.
That's right. Scores around the NBA. The Clippers drain the Lakers 126, 127, 116. The Nuggets the Pacers.
Oh boy.
114, 109.
Pacemakers, yeah.
Okay. KO'd Portland 111, 109. The Jazz couldn't beat New Orleans. They lose 124, 153. And
153, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That's a franchise record for New Orleans. 153 points in a regular season NBA game. What are we doing?
That should be a regular NBA season record.
Not even close.
No, it's not even close. And the Knicks gross the Nets 108, 103.
Okay.
Because their nets are
Yeah,
gross.
no, gross and net.
Yeah.
That was gross.
Oh boy.
Good, I thought. Pella couldn't, not Pelican.
Moving right along. The Tom Telesco to the Raiders hiring. So we oftentimes on this show we have Vinny Bonsignor, Vegas Review Journal writer. He has and hosts a radio show out in Vegas, and I jumped on his show this weekend. This is before the hiring was made, talking about how Antonio Pierce is forming his staff. He's doing all the right things.
Do you hear that, CD? 2 shows isn't enough for Rich. He needs 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 isn't enough either.
Whoa, I didn't say I wasn't.
I just meant 2 cheating shows. Now he needs another one.
Man,
dude, I was just paying back a favor. Like, what?
Let me
have you
guess,
guys
you're
done for
hopping
Vinny?
in with Gottlieb a little later on.
Vinny has been like a brother to you guys, and he keeps
True.
saying like, "Where's Fletch? Where's TD?" And I'm like, I don't know. They like every time I'll like FaceTime these guys, and I'll be like, "Hey, do you guys want to talk to Vinny?" I was like, and they just give you the finger, Vinny, and then they hang up the phone. And it's crazy. I was like, so anyways,
now he's in LA. I wonder who he's jumping in bed with today.
Wow.
Oh no, you stop.
You said it's like for a doctor's appointment. I'm sure it's for a Dr. Call-in appointment.
No.
Colin Coward?
That's wrong.
No, none of that, guys. You know I would never do that. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Except for when
And-
asked.
Yeah. And anyways, I'm not going to be on the 8 o'clock hour.
Don't even lie. Did you text Colin and say I'm in LA this week if you want me to come on over?
Actually, I didn't. Not a bad idea. No, I'll be very busy. I'll be very, very busy during your show. No big deal. Look, here's the deal. The Telesco hiring in Vegas, a lot of people will scoff at it and be like, well, they hired a loser for a GM. Here's the tricky thing about that. So he surrounded Phillip Rivers with a pretty good amount of talent. As a matter of fact, when he first signed on as the general manager, I don't want to brag, but he made one of the best decisions any general manager could make, signing Tricky Dicky Ornberger to the Chargers. Now, he's partially responsible for me being here in San Diego, boys. I mean,
So we should write him a thank you note.
yeah, I mean, really, it's a. I mean, I think we should all we should celebrate his birthday. We should send him Christmas cards. No, like Tom Telesco. He's put together some rosters now, and he's found some gems. Think about a Keenan Allen. That was one of his first moves as a general manager. His first draft, he brings in Keenan Allen in the 3rd round. That guy may end up in the Hall of Fame one day. Mike Williams has been an impressive, first-round receiver. Slow start to his career, and he's been injured a good amount of time. But when healthy, he's one of the more dominant big threats in the NFL, downfield threats. Justin Herbert. And remember, he wasn't rated as he took him ahead of Tua, I believe, right?
Yeah, they were 5-6, and everyone thought the Chargers were going to go Tua, but they went Herbert instead.
So, or maybe it was the other way around. Did the Dolphins take Tua before? You would have to look that up. I'm blanking on that. But he's responsible for the Herbert drafting, the Joey Bosa drafting. Like, he hasn't missed horribly.
How about finding Austin Eckler
Undrafted Austin Eckler, Rashawn Slater as a first-round pick. Like, he's had some major hits, and he's only gotten better drafting in the first round. Derwin James in the first round. Like, the problem has been the coaches that the Chargers have hired. Once you get all these great pieces in place, it really hasn't worked out. So
does that fall on Tom Telesco, or is that the organization handcuffing him a little bit when it comes to head coaching hires?
I think that's part of it. I think that's the bigger part of it. I think he's done a decent job. I don't know. How do you guys think it'll work in Vegas? They have some needs. Obviously, quarterback is a huge one. Can lightning strike twice? Can he get it really right in the draft for the Raiders if he convinces them to go quarterback this upcoming offseason?
Or does he make a trade for Kirk Cousins? Not even trade. Does he sign Kirk Cousins?
Does Herbert follow Tom Telesco to Vegas?
Yes. And then Jim
that'd
Harbaugh
be awesome.
stuck as they send Jimmy G back to
Harbaugh wants McCarthy. It's the greatest quarterback he's ever seen.
Oh, good Lord.
That's right. That 2020 draft, is that what it was? Joe Burrow went number 1. Tua went to the Dolphins, number 5. The Chargers picked up Justin Herbert, 6. Man, and then Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Good Lord.
That was a good draft.
Yeah.
And by the way, there were a couple of guys who were being considered like, oh, the Chargers could go in a lot of directions here.
Man,
I don't know.
Man.
Look,
Nate Stanley to the Vikings. Woo!
that worked out. That really worked out. All right, coming up later in the show, we got a pair of tickets to see Bush at Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. That's right, September 13th show, livenation.com for more information and tickets for sale there. But you can just keep listening for your opportunity to win. Coming up next, Buffalo, we have a problem. We'll explain.
This update is presented by Wendy's College Hoops last night. Aztecs got a nice win over Wyoming at Viejas Arena, 81-65. Lamont Butler pours in 23. Jaden Ledee added 17. Aztecs cruising into their bye weekend in Mountain West play. Next time the boys will be on the court is next Tuesday at nationally ranked Colorado State. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he's the new GM of the Las Vegas Raiders. In the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night, 127-116. And in golf, the Farmers Insurance Open tees off today at Torrey Pines. It's the unofficial start of the PGA Tour season gets underway in San Diego. Aztec for Life, Xander Schauffele is the betting favorite to win the tournament. Wendy's breakfast 2 for $3. Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from the Fave 4 like sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo, single item at a regular price.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. It is a Wednesday, and happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Happy hump day to all, Fletch.
Mike.
Ah, yeah, there it is.
I forgot it was Wednesday, dude. The weeks get weird, especially when you got an Aztecs game on a Tuesday, which generally a lot of Mountain West games get played on a Wednesday. So Tuesday really throws everything off for you. But San Diego State, nice little win last night. Fun game. Dude, they're doing this light show at Viejas Arena now. I don't know if you've seen videos of this, but it's when the starting lineups go, and there's an app that everyone at Viejas downloads on their phone. It is one of the most badass looking things I've ever seen. And in Viejas Arena, it works so much better because everyone's so close together, and it's compact in there. And so you got the 14,000 people or 12,400, whatever it is, all doing the exact same thing with their phones. And it's this light show, and it leads to some incredible pictures. I'll send you the one that was taken of Jay Powell. It's pretty amazing what they're doing down there.
No, I've seen it, and I'm aware of it, and it's happening in a lot of stadiums. Like during my time this fall calling games, there were times where opposing crowds, the lights would go out in the stadium, and they would do it. It's a really cool effect, and it just goes to show you, like, it is pretty easy because the only place that works is in stadium. It is pretty easy to launch an in-stadium app and have everybody on a network where if you wanted
Gambling.
to turn that app into a sports betting app, you would have an easy time. So as soon as that's legalized in California, I'm sure they're going to launch this in other states first, but you're going to see in-game betting apps pop up in every stadium. I promise you that's where it's headed. A lot of people are going to make a lot of money. Some people are going to lose some money. Speaking of money, we've got to talk about the Josh Allen problem in Buffalo. So I'm going to give you just what he's been paid over the years in his contract salary and then the results of those seasons. Okay, so 2019, he was paid just under $5 million. They lost in the wild card round. 2020, $5.9 million. They lose in the conference championship game. Nice job. 2021, $10.2 million. Lost in the divisional round. 2022, $16.4 million. Lost in the divisional round. 2023, $18.6 million. Lost in the divisional round. Next season, the Buffalo Bills owe Josh Allen $47.1 million. $47.1 million.
Okay, it's a lot of money, but it's also what you have to pay a good quarterback. And I do think Josh Allen is a good quarterback, and I don't think Josh Allen was the biggest problem on the field for Buffalo in their loss to, by the way, the Chiefs, who kind of run through the playoffs every single year. I don't see this being a huge issue. I think it's the going rate if you want to have a Josh Allen caliber quarterback on your team. By the way, there's a lot of quarterbacks making as much, if not more money than that, who are not in the postseason.
By the way, if you want to justify your paycheck, you do have to start winning some championships. So as much as I love Josh Allen, as much as
Kirk Cousins has never won a championship or been to a champion, he's made a lot of money, more than Josh Allen.
But I don't
over his career.
Over his career, yeah, he's not getting paid per year that much money. By the way, when you say Kirk Cousins, do you go, "Yep, elite"?
No,
I think pretty damn good.
Right? I think decent.
No. Wait a second. Are you Fletch? Are you saying Kirk Cousins is an elite quarterback in the NFL?
No. Statistically, yes. Put Kirk Cousins in the right situation. I bet you he can get there.
Okay, Kirk Cousins is a is even a great quarterback in the NFL? Like you would put him in like the top, say, 5 category?
5 might be a stretch, and he's a top 10 quarterback, though. This is not the point of this conversation, but statistically, over the last like 7 years, Kirk Cousins has been top 10 in pretty much every category.
Okay,
yeah, but
Kirk Cousins.
Go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
I'm just we're going down this rabbit hole because it's going to prove a point. Kirk Cousins is a guy that you would pay like you would pay Josh Allen. Is that what you're suggesting? Like you would pay top of the market prices for a Kirk Cousins?
Well, I'm curious what he's going to get.
If you were a general manager
in free agency. No, as a general manager, I would not pay him Josh Allen money.
Why do you think that is?
Because there's a finite number of Josh Allens. He's the only person in the league who can do exactly what Josh Allen does.
So I guess my Dak Prescott, where does he land on this ranking list for you? Where
right
does
around
Jimmy
Kirk
Garoppolo?
Cousins. Jimmy Garoppolo below both of them.
Whoa. Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are the same level quarterback to you?
Equal.
Wow.
Like I would have them on the exact same tier.
I think you're on another planet.
Listen.
Is it because we didn't watch Kirk Cousins play this year because he got hurt? He was leading the NFL in like every category at the time he got hurt.
I don't disagree putting him on the level of Dak Prescott. That's where I'm confused. Like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, even Tua. Like there's a lot of quarterbacks that I'm putting way far ahead of Kirk Cousins. I mean, Brock Purdy is another one I'm putting way farther ahead of Kirk Cousins. Like Kirk Cousins.
I'm not.
Kirk Cousins is I mean, look, he's been a guy, he's been a dude, but he's Alex Smith. You know, he's the quarterback you replace to get a great quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's an odd comparison because Josh Allen, like you said, has these intangible abilities that very few people on the planet have. My point in bringing up his salary, it's going to be a lot harder to build around him when you're paying him $50 million as opposed to $18 million, and they haven't won anything yet.
Let me make this clear. I was not comparing the talent level of the two, but you can compare the salary. Kirk Cousins signed a 3-year, $85 million deal with the Vikings a few years back. He's going to get paid a lot of money again. I'm saying quarterbacks are expensive. If you have a really good quarterback like Josh Allen, who's better than Kirk Cousins, he's going to be more expensive. So if the Buffalo Bills want to keep this guy, their franchise quarterback, and keep him for a long, long time, it's just something you have to deal with. So you have to figure out a way to replace the rest of the roster with maybe guys who are a little bit cheaper, assuming that Josh Allen is going to be the guy to get you over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're thinking about money differently because paying a guy $35 or $33 million a year or whatever they're paying Kirk Cousins versus paying a guy almost $50 million a year and that salary isn't coming down is very different. You know, you're talking about a commitment with Josh Allen that will rob the offense of opportunities to chase after free agents due to your salary cap, you know, either retaining them or going outside of the program to bring them in. Meanwhile, if you're paying your quarterback in the 30s, especially these days, I mean, Dak Prescott's getting paid 40. And that's the reason why I brought him up as comparison. Like you're talking about a bargain quarterback versus the literal top of the market quarterback. And that's where it gets tough because Sean McDermott with Josh Allen, I mean, he's tied to this too. Stephon Diggs with Josh Allen, they haven't won. So when you start thinking about they haven't won while Josh Allen's cheap, how is it going to work out with Josh Allen being this expensive?
Right. If you had $30 million extra this year to add some pieces, what are you going to do next year? You're going to have to eliminate some pieces. So if it didn't work with what you have, how do you start to restructure to put together a team that can go out and win a championship? Because you're putting yourself in a hole by having to pay that much money to Josh Allen. I'm not saying Josh Allen's not worth the money. I love Josh Allen. I love how he plays. I forgive the turnovers because I feel like the guy's out there just laying it out there on the field balling. I mean, trying to find a win. But when you're comparing some of these quarterbacks, or I'm just looking at this pay structure here. Golly, man, eating up another $30 million. And you're right, Rich. You don't have a winning team right now.
But it's not a unique situation, right? The Bengals have the same situation. The Chargers are going to have the same situation. Yep. The Chiefs have the same situation. It's about if you have one of these top of the line quarterbacks, you just have to figure everything else out. Because wouldn't you rather have Josh Allen than the next guy on the list and save a couple $1,000,000?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are a little bit unique in this because it was just like the Patriots with Tom Brady, or even Tom Brady when he went to Tampa Bay. And it was like, oh, you know what? They're going to win. I want to go there. And you can start to pick up a couple players that maybe you're getting a deal on because there's a winning culture there at the moment. The Chargers aren't that way. I think you're right. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, there is an issue there as well. They're going to have to start putting some wins down. I mean, the Chargers, they have a lot of issues, but this Buffalo Bills team, it felt like they should have been at the dance for several years now, and they have not been.
Yeah, they've run into the Chiefs.
Yep.
It's tough, but the Patrick Mahomes has had Josh Allen's number in the postseason, and in this game, I think all of them so far could have gone either way between these two teams, and it's a great postseason matchup. But this is the same issue that a lot of teams ran into with the Tom Brady Patriots when they were going through it. Like, there would have been more Super Bowls to be had by other quarterbacks, namely a Peyton Manning, if Tom Brady did not exist at the same time. So while it sucks, I don't think you're moving off of Josh Allen because he makes too much money. I think he's still the guy that you ride with.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that all of a sudden the chickens come home to roost when you sign a big extension. Usually you get a player for cheap for the first couple of years of the extension, but then all of a sudden you have to pay a guy $47 million, almost $48 million coming up here in 2024. When you have that kind of payment structure, you either have to re-extend him, like they may have to hammer out his contract again this offseason, or you have to allow those payments to hit your salary cap and try to work around it. Those are your only two choices. So he's on a 6-year deal right now that expires, I believe it would be in 2028. Is that accurate? 2027 would be the final year because he signed it back in 2021.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like that means if you want to re-extend him, you're going to have to extend him out near 2030.
So you want to know what's pretty gross here? Josh Allen is way down the list in terms of annual average value. Like he was annual APY, which whatever that $43 million a year for Josh Allen. Deshaun Watson's 46, Kyler Murray's 46, Russell Wilson TD 49, Aaron Rodgers 50, even though that's a short deal, so you can kind of throw that out. Jalen Hurts 51, Lamar Jackson 52, Justin Herbert 52, Patrick Mahomes 52, Joe Burrow 55.
Right. But you're also calculating in that guaranteed monies. It's not salary cap monies. We're talking about money that's going to hit the salary cap next year. Average per year income, like that matters. Don't get me wrong. And those are gaudy numbers you just mentioned. But not every team you just mentioned is going to be paying each of those quarterbacks that much money in the upcoming season, because the salary cap works differently in terms of how bonuses are structured and when the deal is consummated. The problem for the Bills is those chickens come home to roost starting next year, and they haven't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs yet, so it becomes a real sticking point for them. This is going to get real interesting this offseason in Buffalo, because I'm curious if they don't try to get cheaper by moving on from Stephon Diggs or making some other big changes. Okay, lot to get to on the show today. It's a Wednesday. We got those Bush tickets coming up later on, and we got to get to this story, right? If there was one team in the NFL that you could play for, which one would it be if you were a starting quarterback on the outside looking in? We'll answer that question, but first, we had a big question around the studio. Why are we so fat?
And Rich, generally when you're out of the studio, when you're at another place or you're doing the show remotely from your in-laws' house, we like to open up the show by saying, well, the studio feels about 300 pounds lighter today. Not anymore, man.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It feels only about 270 pounds lighter because we started this weight loss journey with sdfatloss.com, and I was tipping the scales back up near my playing weight, over 300 pounds. And by joining forces with Wayne and Chloe, our weight loss team with sdfatloss.com, I was able to get my weight back down into the 270s. I lost over 30 pounds with this program, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we talk about it a lot. Like Fletch, we had to roll him into the studio. It was weird. I had to be wheelbarrowed in by members of our news team. Travis Dale, he had to actually do the show from the parking lot. His neck was so wide, we couldn't fit him through the doors.
I couldn't even get out of my car. God, it stuffed me in.
Sarah would be in the driveway shoving his fat neck into the car every morning.
A boot on my head.
I mean, honestly, all of our doorways at the Ornberger household were buttered, so I could easily slide through passageways. It was embarrassing. Look, so we joined forces with SDFatLoss.com, and they're like, boys, put the butter down. We got a better way. We got on the reduction phase,
Butter, though.
and I mean, butter's cool. It's very good.
Yeah.
But we got on that reduction phase, and like I said, the results were immediate. So if you're struggling with your weight and you want to drop weight fast, like, I don't know, sometimes you start a diet just because you want to lose a couple of pounds before you go on a vacation, or before you see some family that you haven't seen in a while, or for some friends that you haven't seen in a while, or start of the new year. You want to just jumpstart your metabolism, as people say. You lose that first 20 pounds, which, by the way, for the bulk of us, came off in the first 2 weeks, I would say. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just flies off of you. So if you're like us, you need to lose a lot of weight quick. SD Fat Loss is for you. Don't try these yo-yo diets where you're taking prescription drugs and it's suppressing your appetite. Sign up with Wayne and Chloe, SDFatLoss.com, SDFatLoss.com.
Coming up, we're going to talk about exactly what Rich said we were going to talk about. And that was, if you could play for one team in the NFL, from the outside looking in, what team would it be? We'll talk about it next.
Yeah, Big Rich and sorry, Fletch was saying something funny in my ear as soon as I think he just quacked at me.
I just said your mic's hot.
Oh, sorry.
I was saying
I thought
you're
you.
hot.
Yeah, I thought you were complimenting me. I was feeling really good about myself for a second there.
Talking about
Big
that
Rich, TD, and Fletch with you.
chocolate donut
Yeah.
that was brought in this morning. Ooh.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's not what it looked like to me. That's not what it looked like to me. Anyways, so the situation with the NFL is an interesting one these days because I think a lot of the guys on the outside looking in who are freshly on the outside or not so freshly on the outside looking in think they can or should insert themselves into conversations where they don't really belong, i.e. Robert Griffin III, talking about how the Browns should re-sign him this season so he can lead them to the playoffs. That was an interesting one. And the Browns obviously went with Joe Flacco, and it worked out well for them. They were proven to be smart in their decision-making, at very least getting to a wild card berth. When you look at a guy like Cam Newton, I don't really see a lot of teams looking to sign a popular, very rapidly aging veteran player at a very important position who's been hurt a lot over the past couple of years, has been out of football for a full season now, and has made a lot of headlines over the course of his career for things that he says at the podium that aren't necessarily characterized as politically correct. I don't know how much that gets factored in, but it has to be a factor when you're taking in the entirety of the person, the entirety of the player. But he says that there's one team that he would come back and play for. Now, did he specifically say which team that was?
Yes, he did. That one
What
team.
team did he?
It's the Atlanta Falcons. His hometown team.
With Bill Belichick.
His hometown team, yes.
Okay.
I don't think Belichick would take him again.
That's what I said. It's the same thing. Okay, I had the exact reaction both of you are having. I thought, well, that's the one team that you would go for, and Bill Belichick would say, no thanks. I mean,
Just tried this a couple years ago. It didn't work.
Right,
I
what
benched
are
you
we
for
talking
Mac
about?
Jones.
Yes. So
I don't really understand. The math doesn't math,
he's
TD.
saying
The math don't math.
He's saying he would only go there because that's his hometown team and he wants to play for his hometown, which clearly that's where I think Belichick's going. So that's where I would go play. It's not going to happen, man. And the Atlanta Falcons? God, I'd rather be the placeholder of the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. So let's spin off of that because we're running short on time. If there was one QB needy, if you were Cam Newton, actually not Cam Newton, scratch that. Say you were a quarterback on the outside of the NFL looking in who teams would actually sign, or you were a free agent like a Kirk Cousins, or even maybe a level up from that where you could pick any destination you want to go. What's the one QB needy team that you would want to play for if you were in that situation?
QB needy team? Oh man.
I swear to God, if you say it, I'm gonna punch you.
I think I'm gonna say it. Look, if I think that I am an elite quarterback, I think I would want to go to the 49ers. I feel like I could beat out Brock Purdy for that job. But if I was just wanting to join a team that could win a championship, how would you not say the Chiefs? Also, you got Taylor Swift and all the celebs showing up to every game.
Yeah, but the Chiefs, they're not QB needy.
No,
they
but I
have
don't-
everything.
But look,
They
are
have,
we talking
baby.
about me, my personality? Because I just want to sit there and watch, collect a paycheck.
Backup
Yeah,
quarterback
all
in the NFL is like the greatest job of all time. Ask Chase Daniels. That dude made a lot of money and threw like 5 passes in his career.
You know, I would probably listen. I would not want to play for the Atlanta Falcons, even if I grew up in Georgia. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. But I would try to convince a team like, I don't know, like maybe the New York Jets or even the Miami Dolphins.
That was going to be
Like,
mine.
You know what I mean? Like Tua Tagovailoa, is he the right guy? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's working out as well as they thought it was going to work out.
And with Miami, all you got to do is take like a 2-step drop and throw the ball really high in the air, and Tyreek Hill is going to find it.
I could see maybe like Washington, Tennessee, like those are some of the other team names that are on the list who need a quarterback like right now. I mean, Denver is an interesting option.
Yeah, that's a good call too.
With Sean
Although,
Payton. Yeah.
I mean, who knows after this season what weapons they have left? I mean, they
Yeah.
may have to start making some moves.
Yeah, no question about it. Okay, listen, we have Bush tickets. If you want to see their show this September, Calco's Credit Union Amphitheater, you got to keep listening to the show. Coming up next, the quarterbacks left in the postseason. If they were a beer, which one would they be? That's next.
It's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This report is sponsored by Alliant International University. College hoops, Aztecs get a win over Wyoming last night. Final score 81-65 at Viejas Arena. Lamont Butler pouring in 23. Jaden Ledee adds 17. Aztecs cruise into their bye week in Mountain West play. Next time the boys will be on the court next Tuesday at Colorado State. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he's landed with the Las Vegas Raiders. He's got their general manager job now. In the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night, 127-116. And in golf, Farmers Insurance Open teeing off today at Torrey Pines. It's the unofficial start of the PGA Tour season, and it gets underway here in San Diego. Aztec for Life, Xander Schauffele, the betting favorite to win the tournament. Mental health care is where profession meets purpose. Study at the California School of Professional Psychology at Alliant International University. You'll learn practical skills to make a real-world difference. Find out more at alliant.edu and start to succeed on purpose.
Welcome in and happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you, and a happy hump day to all.
Mike.
Big day. We already breezed by this earlier in the show. We'll get back to it in a little bit here, but the Chargers are making serious headlines. It seems like they are very closely approaching a signing of Jim Harbaugh. The coaching carousel is going to be missing one horse pretty soon here, and it looks like it's going to be the national championship winning head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh, going to LA. Now, again, this is all being sourced. These are all reports for now, but all the main newsbreakers, like the Schefters and the Ian Rappaports, it sounds like they're nearing signing and consummating this deal. They're just hammering out details. So we'll pass that information if it breaks during this show, but yeah, it's an interesting day because Jim Harbaugh, that deal may get signed before Bill Belichick. You would assume that Billy B would have an easier time finding a job than Jim Harbaugh, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I look at the NFL landscape and say, oh, that's the place for Belichick at the moment. I mean, there's a couple that I can make sense. There's a couple I can make a case for. But for whatever reason, I'm kind of feeling like Belichick says, you know what? I'm going to take a little time here. But maybe that's not Belichick. You know Belichick. I don't know the guy.
I feel like, I don't know, man. The Jim Harbaugh thing to the Chargers never felt all that likely to me. And now that people are saying it's so likely it's going to happen, it's imminent, whatever. He brought his family out. They're going to sign the contract, and maybe it's already been signed. I still don't buy it, and I still really like my conspiracy theory of the Chargers using Harbaugh and Harbaugh using the Chargers to up his contract at Michigan. He's being paid, or going to be offered to be paid, a ton of money, record-setting money to stay the head coach at Michigan, and Michigan's offering that money knowing that there might be some ramifications from the NCAA or some punishments from the NCAA coming down. So him leaving, it feels like enough people know enough at Michigan to still make the contract offer, knowing what's in the weeds from college football and from NCAA, that they're still making that offer. It means it can't be that bad, right? So why would he not go back to Michigan? I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like the block is getting hot in college football for Jim Harbaugh. I mean, if it wasn't apparent before when he had all the COVID violations for, allegedly breaking the rules for the way they were recruiting, the way they were practicing their team, or for the sign stealing allegations that are now against them. Like, it just feels like Jim Harbaugh has overstayed his welcome in college football. And very similar to how it felt when Pete Carroll left USC and accepted the head coaching job with the Seattle Seahawks. That's what it's becoming to feel more and more like with Jim Harbaugh. So before, we talked about this yesterday. If I were going to handicap it, I would say most likely he stays at Michigan. But the closer and closer we get to a potential signing in LA, the amount of time that he spent in LA over the course of this playoffs, because they played in the Rose Bowl, and also now these visits back out to LA to spend time with the Chargers specifically, it feels like this is imminent. It feels like this is going to happen. It feels like the most likely scenario is he coaches the Chargers. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason if that's the case. They're also searching for a general manager. I'm curious if he has any say in who that is, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. We also have our morning monologues coming up. Let's get into this.
I was going to say, by the way, the Vegas odds are now gone to minus 225 that Jim Harbaugh goes to the Chargers. So I think it was at negative 150.
Yeah,
so,
minus 150, and now it's at minus 225.
Yeah.
So it's only pushing further in the direction of him signing with LA.
Yeah. Boys, I only play Toby Keith on very special occasions. And I feel like this has potential to be one of my favorite segments we've ever done, period, end of discussion.
Wow.
There are 4 quarterbacks left in the NFL who will be playing football this weekend. And what we need to do is pair a beer, a canned beverage on National, what is it? Appreciate a Beer Can Day?
Okay. It's a National Beer Can Appreciation Day, which I'm not sure if we're supposed to appreciate the can or the contents.
Well,
but we'll fudge it a little bit if we need to.
I feel like you're appreciating the fact of how easy you can transport a beer because of the beer can.
Beer is the great equalizer among men. We can make it however we want.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's right.
But we're going to pair the final remaining quarterbacks, or not pair, but compare them to whatever beer we choose here. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I like it.
Okay.
And you could take this in any direction you want, by the way. You could make this as out there as you want. It could be a beer brand. It could be a specific beer. It could be a type of beer. However, which way you want to take it. We'll start with really the player I think we have to start with. He's the best left in the field, Patrick Mahomes. He won't win the MVP this year, but, I mean, he's won a lot of Super Bowls. What beer is Patrick Mahomes?
To me, Patrick Mahomes, I almost went Stella just because I feel like it's a little bit fancy. But I was thinking for myself, it's like a red trolley ale to me. I know it's red, it's Chiefs, a little splashy, it's fun. I break it out when things feel a little more special. That's when the red trolleys come out for me.
Red trolley ale?
That's me, baby.
I don't think I've ever had a red trolley ale. Is it from San Francisco?
No, it's from San Diego, man. It's Carl Strauss.
Oh, it is? I thought it was from San Francisco.
Carl Strauss is a San Francisco company, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I got it here in San Diego. Whatever.
Yeah, well,
Red trolley ale.
You could get Sam Adams in San Diego. It doesn't mean it's made here.
Sam Adams is, I'm pretty sure, made in San Diego.
Sam Adams is Boston.
Kidding.
We're off to a great start.
Red trolley ale? What the hell?
Patrick Mahomes, Fletch, what beer is Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes is Pliny the Elder because he's the best, hands down. And I know it's sacrilege saying a beer that's not made in San Diego is the best beer I've ever had, but Pliny the Elder is the best beer I think anyone's ever had. It's won every award. It's the old consistent. Pliny the Elder is Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, my Mahomes beer comparison is Miller High Life. Now, the reason why, it has nothing to do with how the beer tastes. It has nothing to do with my affections towards this beer at all. It's because it's the champagne of beers. And how do you celebrate championships with champagne? So Mahomes is Miller High Life.
Good call.
All right, let's move on to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, we'll start with you, Fletch. Lamar Jackson, what beer is Lamar?
He's a seltzer. It's not that I'm occasionally we've had a lot of seltzers on the show. I like a good seltzer, and they have cool packaging and cool cans, and he's very flashy. He's very, would you say, sparkly? Lamar Jackson is a seltzer because he's different than everyone else. He's not a beer because he's not the same thing. He's not a quarterback in this league. He's something different. He's a little bit of an alien. I don't love seltzers. They're not for me. I wouldn't choose them as my drink of choice on a weekend, just like I probably wouldn't sign Lamar Jackson to a long-term contract because I don't know how healthy he is. But in the short term, he's going to be exciting. He's going to be bubbly. He's going to get the job done.
Okay. Lamar Jackson to me here on National Beer Can Appreciation Day. Lamar Jackson is Sam Adams. Okay, so
made in Boston.
Well, hang on.
I don't know.
It has nothing to do with Boston. Definitely not in San Diego, though. We know that.
Well, to see where he's conceived.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, that's very important.
Because he could have been made in Boston.
Coitus matters, guys. I've always said that.
Wait,
anyways,
coitus?
Yeah, well, look it up. The Lamar Jackson, Sam Adams, the reason why that is the beer I'm pairing with him, I know it's a beer company. It's because when Lamar was coming out of Louisville, there were a bunch of NFL scouts who wanted him to come out as a wide receiver. But he did it his way. He said, no, screw you. I'm going to be a quarterback. And then they said, yeah, but you know what? Let's have you run the 40-yard dash at the combine. He said, yeah, screw you. I'm not going to run the 40 because you're going to try to make me a wide receiver. So I'm not running your 40. And they were like, yeah, but we really wish you would have. Well, when Sam Adams first started, there was really no craft beer market. It was all these national brands. Lagers were king. And Sam Adams completely shifted the paradigm in this country. All of a sudden, you look at beer a little bit differently. All of a sudden, with Lamar Jackson, he's got teams looking at quarterbacks a little bit differently. So Lamar Jackson is Sam Adams.
That's a good call.
TD, we have been informed. You were right. Carl Strauss is a San Diego beer company. I apologize to you.
Thank you very much.
Jeez,
Thank
look
you.
at that.
Gosh,
You always lead us astray, Fletcher.
I know, I'm
Redemption.
sorry.
Redemption. I'm saying, anyways, Lamar Jackson, to me, he's an IPA. It's not my favorite, but I sure love how fast it works, how fast it gets me to the party. The end.
I love that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers quarterback. He's young. He's upstart. To me, Brock Purdy's the IPA. Now, he's not for everyone. Those who love them in IPA, they love them in IPA. There's no fence sitters, though. It's either you love it or you hate it, and that is Brock Purdy. I had no idea how polarizing Brock Purdy was until he beat the Packers, but apparently Brock Purdy is the India Pale Ale of the NFL. So if I'm comparing Brock to a beer, he is my IPA for sure. All right.
Eyebrow raising here over on the other side of the glass.
I actually just
Rich.
really liked everything Rich said, just like I really like a good IPA.
Well, you'll probably like this then. To me, Brock Purdy is a natty light. It's cheap and it'll get the job done.
I hate you.
What?
But going along the same lines, Brock Purdy is a Coors Light.
Okay.
Because it's not like it's going to be the craziest, flashiest thing you ever seen, but guess what? He's going to get the job done. And you guys both know this. Me assigning Coors Light to somebody means that is my favorite thing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
That's
okay,
very true.
listen, for everybody out there who's celebrating National Beer Can Appreciation Day, we love your tweets and your texts. Tell us how you're celebrating. Today, we're celebrating by naming quarterbacks after beers.
And now we get to Jared Goff. So I had Coors Light as Brock Purdy, which means Jared Goff is Keystone Light, which if you don't know, Keystone Light is literally the bottom of the barrel of Coors Light. It's the stuff that it didn't make the cut to be Coors Light. It's the same parent company. They put the stuff that didn't make the cut into Keystone Light cans. Doesn't mean it's not that good. I like Keystone Light. I drank it all through college. But Keith Smooth is Jared Goff, who's a slightly watered down version of Brock Purdy.
So TD, you see what he's doing here.
Yeah.
So Goff is Brock's opponent.
Yeah.
So of course he's going
essentially
to be,
the
I got it.
the mouthwash,
Look,
the
the-
aftertaste.
the afterbirth of the Coors Light brewing
Bingo.
process.
He is the placenta.
I'll tell you what, Goff. Good Lord.
Oh, Jesus.
Goff's a PBR. Okay. He's the Pabst Blue Ribbon. Why? It's working man's beer. It's working man's place, man. That's Goff. That's Goff to me.
Dude, we have the same this was not planned. We have the same exact beer.
For real?
Pabst Blue Ribbon. And mine was a little bit different. I agree with everything you just said. That's a good twist on it. But for me, look, Pabst Blue Ribbon, it's the back of the refrigerator beer. It's not the one you're grabbing first, okay?
It's the one that keeps getting pushed back every time you put in a different can.
In fact, if you have enough Pabst Blue Ribbon, you're probably sending some of it to Detroit. Let's be very honest with each other. You know, you're in Southern California, you're reaching for a beer. There's a lot of craft beers to reach for. You're probably like, you know where this belongs? This belongs in a Rust Belt city in the Midwest. And then all of a sudden you crack one open. You're like, I'll be damned. Like, I like Pabst Blue Ribbon. I like Jared Goff. Every single time I sample him, I'm like, you know what? This isn't bad. So Jared Goff is my PBR. Guys, I think this worked.
Oh, it works.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people on the text line and on YouTube who are talking about who Bud Light is, and we're just not even going to touch that, okay?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. Okay, listen. Tons of fun coming up in the show. We got those Busch tickets to give away. We also want to get to the morning monologue, so let's do this first. No? Yes.
Halftime monologue. I didn't know which one to do. I'm guessing
sorry.
halftime.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me. College hoops last night. San Diego State gets a win over Wyoming. They actually got like a week off now, so they don't play again until next Tuesday where they hit the road. They're going to Colorado State. If you're talking about must wins and must steals in conference, playing at Colorado State is a big one because they're way high up in the net in KenPom and the AP poll. Colorado State on the road, that's going to be a massive game next Tuesday, and the bye comes at the perfect time for San Diego State, who again won last night 81-65. Lamont Butler 23, Jaden Ledee 17. Good night for them. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he has landed with the Las Vegas Raiders. I always kind of liked Tom. We had him on a few times back in the early days. In the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night. What'd you say, TD, for that one?
Drained the Lakers.
I get it.
Nice. 127-116. And in golf, boys, the Farmers Insurance Open, it's teed off already, actually, out at Torrey Pines today. It's the unofficial start of the PGA Tour season. Aztec for Life, Xander Schauffele, is, in fact, the favorite in the betting odds to win this tournament here in San Diego, back on his old stomping grounds.
I love it. Xander Schauffele, fan for life over here. Had him on the show a couple times. Really good guy. Really nice family as well. Xander Schauffele, the hometown kid, is favored to win Torrey Pines as the Farmer Insurance Open tees off today. How does the golf course look? I haven't checked in over there, Fletch. Is it
not good? Like
soaked?
Awful. I mean, not awful in terms of like it looks ugly. Awful as in I would hate to play golf on that course right now, because what happened with all that rain we got means that what was already overseeded and already overly thick has grown another like inch because of all the rain that we got. So everything is already multi-fertilizer, as beefy as it could possibly be, and it's only gotten worse, and everything is wet. The golfers are going to have a tough time this week.
We almost want to clip that whole thing and then just play that back out of context.
Just
actually
beefy.
I mean,
hang on
it was overseeded. It's thick. It's beefy.
Hang on. Like Fletch, you need to clip yourself out responding to my question. And you need to send that video to me. And
Okay.
let me just handle the rest.
Dude, golf and sex go hand in hand. We all know that.
Thank you so much.
My God.
Yeah, that was descriptive. We're going to move right along to the morning monologue. This has been a very sexual segment.
Do you want to push it to next segment for the morning monologue, or do we want to do a true, like everybody gets 1 minute?
What do you guys think? Are we game for that? Is it possible that we can get it done in 1 minute?
I can get mine done in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
you know how I work.
Same.
Okay.
And
All
actually, 30 seconds seems long.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because mine has nothing to do with sports.
Quick and easy.
I got very heated on my yesterday's morning monologue because of Brock Purdy and because of all the stupidity Rich was spewing. But allow me to talk about Brock the dog. Brock the dog is obviously recovering from his surgery. It was very serious. He got his balls chopped off. My wife is in Florida, so I am kind of stuck on daddy duty here, which I take very seriously because I love that dog. I was at Viejas pretty much all day yesterday outside in the little courtyard. Why did I not get a dog when I was single and when I was like 18 years old? Because the amount of attention I was getting was through the roof. Now, yes, mostly it was like grandmas who were going to the Aztecs game to watch the game, but I still like the attention.
You like the grandmas?
I love, hang on.
Always have. GrannyZone.com.
That's right.
But the amount of times I heard this, oh my God, look at that cute little puppy. It's something that's never happened to me before. So that's it.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Buy a dog. That's Fletch's advice.
Yeah,
if you're single,
if you're in your 20s and you're listening to this show and you're single, get a cute little puppy dog.
All right, TD, what do you got?
Well, again, yesterday it gets brought up at my house, and I want to say this has now been a conversation at my house for maybe 15 days in a row. I talked with you guys about it on Friday briefly. When you shower, do you pay attention and actually wash your feet, or do you just let the soap run over your feet to clean your feet? I mean, look, I have shampooed my hair. The shampoo now runs over my entire body, down over my feet. I soap up, I lather up, all that runs over my feet. I do the face wash. That face wash runs down over my feet. how much time do I actually need to spend scrubbing my feet?
I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I don't know what Rich is going to say, so I
Okay.
might seem like a really gross human being after this.
Okay.
Never once in my life have I washed my
Okay,
feet.
thank you. I
Yeah,
don't either. It's just the run over. That's it. And I'm getting
You're
a lot
asking
of
me
hate.
to become what are those things called that you jump on that have one little pogo stick?
Yeah.
You're asking me to become a pogo stick in the shower?
Not
Not
gonna
happening.
happen.
That is high
No.
risk of injury.
Yeah.
I see a high risk, low reward. Your feet. Listen, unless you're into feet, you shouldn't spend a lot of time with your feet. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. If feet are your thing, scrub those bad boys. Get between the toes. Maybe trim the toenails on a weekly basis. Whatever you have to do to make them as pretty as possible. But it's not my thing, and so it is a complete afterthought. I completely agree with this take. This may be your strongest monologue ever.
Thank you.
Ever.
Thank you. Listen
okay.
up, Sarah.
I will be super duper quick here. Listen, I know this show
That's what
has
she
has a singular focus during this time of year, right? We talk a lot of NFL. I don't think it's for lack of appreciation of what we have, though, right? We have this wonderful thing that has happened in this city, right? Peter Seidler, since taking over as the decision maker with the San Diego Padres, has invested in this team, and the city has invested right back into the team. Showing up Wednesday nights on school nights, filling up Petco Park. It's so much fun. But, like all great toys, you want to put them down for a little while before you pick them back up. Otherwise, you'll lose appreciation for them. Like, there is a time and a place to really focus on the Padres, and we'll do that if there's major breaking news. But overall, when you have NFC and AFC Championship games like we have coming up this weekend, Chiefs taking on the Ravens. Mahomes, can he keep the dynasty going? Will it be Travis Kelce's last dance? Lamar Jackson's first Super Bowl potentially. Jared Goff, complete redemption if they get to the big game. Brock Purdy. I mean, there's storylines everywhere you look. Now, don't get me wrong. If the Padres sign an outfielder to their minor league system, it may be a sports update, but we'll get to the Padres on the other side of championship weekend. I promise. So if anybody out there is clamoring for Padres news and updates, please listen to our midday show and our afternoon drive show. They will give everything you need. And that's what I love about this station. We have an eclectic, diverse group of opinions on this station that you can get everything that you need. Okay, coming up in a little bit, short-term fix, but is it the right thing to do? But before we get to that, hey, TD, how did you get to work today?
Well, I got here in my GMC pickup truck. And look, I joke about it because of how much I love my truck, but I actually do love my truck because I don't just use it to haul stuff around. I don't just use it to tow around a trailer. I use it as my everyday driver. I love the thing. And a GMC Sierra 1500, I'm telling you, there is no better ride out on the road. They're absolutely phenomenal. In fact, I've owned 3 of them. The last one I got rid of, I had over 244,000 miles on it. It was still going. And guess what? I hadn't done anything to it. I just took care of it. I changed the oil. And look, if you're out here, you're looking for something, guess what? New year, better savings at North County Cadillac GMC. They're offering incredible deals to help you get your new year started right. So if you're looking for a truck that can handle everything, you won't find another better deal on a truck as powerful and as versatile as the GMC Sierra 1500 than at North County Cadillac GMC. So stop by there. Tell the GM Jamie that Travis sent you. He's going to take care of you. He's going to make sure you get the best deal possible on your new truck, and they got a bunch of them there right now. They got some new inventory last week. Well, shoot, you know what? I haven't been by over the weekend. Who knows? They may have sold a bunch, but I guarantee you they're going to get a bunch more in because they sell trucks. So, of course, GMC goes, well, we should probably send them more trucks because they keep moving them out there at North County Cadillac GMC because they have the best deals. But go take one for a test drive. Go sit in one. Just, take in that new car smell, drive the thing around and see how fantastic it is. The thing is a workhorse. You're going to absolutely fall in love. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why North County Cadillac GMC was voted San Diego's best domestic auto dealer in the San Diego Union Tribune Readers Poll. So stop by and find out why. At North County Cadillac GMC in the heart of the Escondido Auto Mall to test drive the GMC Sierra 1500 today. North County Cadillac GMC, exceeding your expectations every time.
This update is presented by Wendy's. We will begin here in college hoops. Aztecs with a nice win over Wyoming last night. Final score 81-65. Lamont Butler 23 points. Jaden Ledee 17. Boys now get a week off. They play next Tuesday at Colorado State. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he's landed with the Raiders. He takes up their GM duties. In the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night 127-116. Pelicans set a franchise record with 153 points scored. That's not basketball. And in golf, Farmers Insurance Open, it tees off today at Torrey Pines. Aztec for Live Xander Schauffele is the betting favorite to win the tournament. Wendy's breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundle lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4 like sausage or egg and cheese biscuit. Small seasoned potatoes or medium hot coffee, limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary, not valid in a combo, single item at a regular price.
Happy Wednesday. It's Big Rich, CD, and Fletch. San Diego Sports 760. We still have a pair of tickets to go see Bush at the Calco's Credit Union Amphitheater on Friday, September 13th. LiveNation.com for tickets and info, or just keep listening here for your chance to win.
Hey, TD, we got a text here on the text line that is actually something that you texted Rich and me a couple days ago. It's from the 913. TD, have you seen those new Reese's Pink Hearts? They resemble something. Not sure how they thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, so if you take a heart and turn it upside down, it's it's more of like a bag, I would say. Yeah. I mean, and when you make it pink, it's flesh toned. So Reese's are selling flesh tone bags. I've tried to find these at stores. I cannot.
Do you think it's real?
I don't know.
Almost like a droopy sack of marbles.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Like if you had
Like
two
marbles.
two shooters.
Yeah, the bigger marble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See that sounds appetizing. We should
It's like
we
you want to just put that right in your mouth.
we should taste test those on the show.
We definitely should.
I
You know what
definitely
we should
think we
do is have someone feed them to us, and they'll like dangle them above our mouths, and we'll
just have them enter the frame slowly from above.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
way, you're not quite sure what we're doing just yet.
So what's crazy is, as unappetizing as those look, it's Reese's, and Reese's don't miss.
Yeah, Reese's
okay.
don't miss.
But hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying Reese's misses? 'Cause
Yes.
Get the hell out.
I am saying Reese's does
On
miss.
what?
Well, so when they do these shaped Reese's, I feel like the chocolate to peanut butter ratio is wrong.
Are you saying like the Easter egg is off?
It's off.
Dude,
There's
the Easter egg, or oh my god, that might be the most delicious Reese's.
Yo,
I agree.
No, absolutely not.
It has more
Nope.
peanut butter.
That's the problem.
No.
The most delicious Reese's, the best ratio are the miniature ones that are wrapped in gold foil.
Those are great, especially if you put them in a freezer. But I'm not sleeping on the Reese's egg. I'm not sleeping on Reese's Pieces. I'm not talking about the Reese's that they put a potato chip inside of, which was also awesome.
Oh, right. I didn't have that. Was it good?
Oh, it was so good.
God.
So at the checkout register at a Vons recently, they're selling salted caramel Reese's peanut butter cups.
Give it to me.
Like the big cups.
I need Will Arnett to just talk to me in a slow voice about it.
That too. Yeah. He can also talk to me about his GMC truck.
Yeah, you're damn right.
No, look, I'm not saying I'm going to turn down the Reese's egg. I'm not saying I'm going to turn down the Reese's Christmas tree. I'm not saying the Reese's bat is not making its way into my bag of candy. What I'm saying is it's not the correct ratio.
You're not eating the balls.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh no, I'd eat the balls.
Okay.
Put them right
Mark.
in my put those right in my mouth.
Mark the tape. Okay, we are going to get back to the main story of the day, which is that Jim Harbaugh and the LA Chargers are close to signing a deal together. But there have been other little notes that have sort of flooded the wire, but we haven't gotten to because there are a lot of names that people don't know. One, though, really struck a chord with me because it's another one of my former coaches. He was a linebacker coach when I played for the Chargers in San Diego by the name of Joe Barry. He became the defensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers. They had a terrible year defensively. That Matt LaFleur and that staff has fired him. So Joe Barry is out of a job in Green Bay. And it led me down this path, and I want to get your guys' take on this. So there have been a lot of firings, and we talk about the head coaches, But the Bills, for example, move on from their OC. The Carolina Panthers have fired just about everybody. The Chicago Bears, outside of their head coach, have fired just about everybody on their offense. The Cleveland Browns fire running backs coach. The Jacksonville Jaguars fire their defensive coordinator. You look at the Chargers, I mean, they cleaned house at the top, but the Saints, they fire their offensive coordinator. The Giants fire their special teams coordinator. The Philadelphia Eagles fire their defensive coordinator. Like, change sometimes is necessary, and I understand that. But it feels sometimes like in the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NBA or any sport, college football, there's this bloodletting that occurs after a disappointing season. Is this really necessary? Like, as fans of teams, like, do we really need to see a team make some rash decision to appease us? Or can we be mature enough that it doesn't need to happen?
It seems like in the NFL, there's so much turnover because if you're a successful coordinator, you're getting poached by another team, either to be a head coach or a higher paid coordinator somewhere else. And if you're on a bad team, the coordinators usually get fired immediately. And what it leads to, I think, and I could be wrong on this, but is a diminishing return when it comes to quarterbacks, because you see a guy like Baker Mayfield who gets drafted by the Browns and is dealing with like 8 different offensive coordinators until the time he's here, which you can call him an NFL veteran. He's only really been in the league for 7 years. Like, it's wild to think that that guy has played less years than he's had coordinators in his time as a quarterback. And then you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who gets drafted by the Jets. Well, same situation there. He's there for 3 years. I think he had 4 different OCs. It just gets tougher and tougher for guys coming out of college to have any sort of consistency, which you can tell with a lot of them. They're grasping for consistency and for somebody just to be a constant voice in their ear, and they're not getting it. So I don't know that it impacts the culture. I don't know that it impacts the team. I think for sure it impacts the quarterback, which is the most important part of your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think as fans, as you watch these teams not get as far as you want them to get each year, you want something to change. So, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You don't want to see the exact same team the next year because it didn't work this year. So you want to see some kind of major change because you're only really looking on the major players. The spotlight are on the major players. So I think as fans, you start to single out someone that you go, he is the problem. We want to see him go. I don't know how much the fans can sway a general manager or a coach or whatever the decision is. Rich, you played pro ball. You were there. You felt it. I mean, I don't know if the fans can be the tail that wags the dog, but maybe they can. But I think as fans, you want to see some kind of change because you want to see your team moving forward and becoming better.
Yeah, and you know what? The tail does sometimes wag the dog. To answer your question, like when the block is hot, so to speak, and it feels like a decision needs to be made. Like, how much better did the Padres get moving on from Andy Green and getting Jace Tingler? You know what I mean? Like, not much, but it felt like at that point a decision needed to be made because the fan base was forcing it down the organization's throat. I look at some of these teams similarly, like the Green Bay Packers, who their defense was a problem, or the Philadelphia Eagles, who their defense paled in comparison to the defense they had last year. Now, they lost their defensive coordinator. He became the head coach with the Arizona Cardinals, but they're making another change. My point is this: consistency matters too. If that guy wasn't great at the job this year, does it mean he's going to suck next year? The answer is no. He'll probably, most likely, get better at things next year. But I think a lot of times we pull the trigger early because people get frustrated and people want to be appeased. It's instant gratification to move on from a coordinator, like some major change has been made. Meanwhile, maybe the problems are elsewhere. All right, coming up next, we're going to look into handing out some hall passes around not just the NFL, but other leagues as well. We'll explain that. But first and foremost, I want to get to this.
Yeah.
TD, you are wearing the hell out of that shirt.
Look at those biceps.
You're damn right. You're damn right I am. Fletch.
Handsome.
Fletch just whispered this into my ear, and he goes, speaking of coordinators, Wayne and Chloe coordinating us with SD Fat Loss.
No, it was our weight loss coordinators. You butchered it.
Saved it for you. And speaking of butchering, we used to butcher so much meat and eat it because we were so fat. We had to feed these gigantic bodies. And our coordinators Wayne and Chloe, they stepped in and said, look, we can help you cut down on that. We can help you put down the Reese's. In fact, what we'll do is we'll show you how to eat the right way so you can still enjoy a Reese's once in a while, but still lose weight and lose weight fast. Like in 8 weeks' time, you're going to drop, I don't know, 20 to 30 pounds. And we all went past the 30-pound mark. 31 pounds for me, 35 plus for Rich. Ben Fletch, who's been going on now the reduction phase again, I think he's pushing 50 pounds lost now. He's so skinny, his pants just fall off him. I don't know why he refuses to buy a smaller size pair of pants. Just keep, yeah. What are you doing? That is that's like a foot gap. Anyways. He was pulling his pants out to show how large they were. Okay, it maybe came out the wrong way, but look, if you're tired if you're tired of trying these fad diets and them not working, or maybe you did the yo-yo diet with them where they worked, you lost weight, but as soon as you stopped the fad diet, then you gained all the weight right back. Then go to sdfatloss.com. They'll show you the right way to do it. They'll show you how to keep this weight off like we've been doing. So sdfatloss.com. Schedule your free consultation today. The healthy way to lose weight fast, sdfatloss.com. We're looking at a sports hall pass. What would we choose? We'll explain coming up next.
Hey, this is Rich for the Good Feet Store. Listen, in the new year, I want to lighten your load a little bit. I want you guys out there who have some lower body joint pain, if you're carrying around a couple extra pounds, or maybe it's just from an old injury, or maybe you work on your feet all day, or maybe you got little kids or grandkids that you're constantly picking up, and your body, you're aching a little bit. I get it. I've been there after a playing career in the NFL and having 2 little kids that I'm chasing around on my own. It's really, it takes a toll on you. And so at the Good Feet store, they sell these arch supports. You slide them into whatever footwear you use, and they somehow magically make you feel better. So my ankles, my feet, my knees, my lower back, my hips even have benefited from this. I thought I was going to need a hip surgery. I canceled the MRI appointment because I was amazed by how quickly the effects of wearing these arch supports every day have reversed things for me. I used to wake up with back pain, sometimes worse, sometimes better, every single day. And I wake up feeling great in the morning as a result of wearing these arch supports. It really is magnificent what they do. It's a completely try before you buy situation. You go in there for your free fitting. There's no commitment. If it's for you, great. You walk out of there, and at least from what I experienced, you're going to feel great fast. If it isn't, you can walk out of there, no problems, no questions asked, and they will check in with you after you purchase your arch supports to make sure that they are working for you. So if you struggle with lower body joint pain at all, the Good Feet store is your destination, and they've got 200 plus locations around the United States and overseas, so they are super easy to find. All their arch supports are manufactured right here in San Diego, up in their warehouse in Carlsbad. So you're shopping local when you shop with the Good Feet store. Check them out at goodfeet.com. Hearing the brooding sounds of Bush. We're going to be handing out some tickets later on in the show, so keep listening for your opportunity. And if you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, good job. Thank you for doing it. Best way to listen to the show. If you haven't downloaded it yet, go to your app store and get the free iHeartRadio app and just search Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. It helps the show. Also, one of the best ways to support this show, share a link with a friend. We would appreciate that as well. Okay, so Tristan Thompson, big name in the NBA. He's suspended 25 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug program. 25 games, it's punitive. I mean, that is a significant suspension. That's about a quarter of your season, a little bit more than that. When I think about drugs in sports, most of the time you think, obviously performance-enhancing drugs and Adderall and steroids and all those things, HGH. I think, of course, there's going to be those players. But also, think about Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers quarterback who became the Jets quarterback this offseason, admitting to taking and partaking in ayahuasca ceremonies and expanding his brain. Like, if there was a year where you could allow every player in every sport to have a hall pass and just take whatever drugs they want, what do you think would be the most entertaining sport to view that year?
Gosh. Is it bad that my mind immediately went to the UFC? There might be some actual deaths if that was the case. But no, I think the real answer is baseball. Like, I do want all the players in baseball to be able to use steroids all the time, because when was baseball at its absolute best? When it was coffee table conversation for every single person in America? Well, it was when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were going back and forth with that ridiculous, was it 1999 season when they were hitting 1 million home runs each, and it was like the race to see who would get the record. that is when baseball was at its best. And it was because they were juiced up out of their gourds on steroids.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. That I feel the same way. Juice up baseball because that was fun. I mean, Mark McGwire, you couldn't pitch to the guy because he would just crank it out of the ballpark. Sammy Sosa,
Barry Bonds.
Yeah, no, Jose Canseco. Look at Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
How jacked he was versus now.
Dude, I will take a little bit of back knee.
Awesome.
A little back knee is okay to see these guys hitting the ball 490 yards.
Lactating men is fine. Okay,
That is fine.
Yeah.
How about when
Everybody
Barry Bonds
knows
went
that.
from having a tiny little pencil neck to all of a sudden his neck was wider than his face? It looked like Travis Dale. Are you on steroids?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
only from the shoulders up.
You know, I inject directly into my neck. I agree with both of you. You know, it's actually, it was funny. I thought that me picking baseball would be like, oh, you know, these guys are going to pick other sports. I do agree with what you said. Like, I think that UFC, that would change that sport. I mean, ultimately, because you would just go back to the beginning of the UFC where there was no prohibition on any enhancements, right? You literally saw action figures get into an octagon and fight each other. It was crazy.
It's like
it was actually
WWE wasn't scripted. There would be a lot more deaths.
right, and they were
all
heading
those
in that
guys
direction.
are probably on steroids.
Probably.
Yeah, dude. Except for the Hulkster, I'm pretty sure all he did was said his prayers and ate his vegetables.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and he took his vitamins. He told us the regiment that you have to do to look like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, brother. All you got to do is say your prayers, eat your vegetables, and take your vitamins, just like the Hulkster with these 24-inch pythons.
I just mowed down Flintstone vitamins, and here I am now, giant neck.
This might be a stupid question, but for like the lay person, like radio hosts, are steroids illegal for me to take? Like HGH? Can I take HGH?
I mean, I think
no.
Oh no, yeah, nope.
You can take them with a prescription. It's the same thing as.
But what if I go down to Mexico and go to El Farmaceutico?
Well, see, that's the problem. that's where you have a run-in with the law. Yeah.
So I shouldn't do that, is what you're saying.
Oh, no. Well, actually, if you want to boost your testosterone, I have just the man you should talk to. And that's Dr. Roy David over at the Man Zone. But we'll get to that a different time. I'm more interested in what TD's up to on that phone of his. He's always on his phone. He's always typing away. He's always busy.
Come on. I'm just putting together my fantasy team here, Rich. I'm putting together my fantasy team with DraftKings because why? They're the leader in fantasy sports, and they just dropped a brand new fantasy app, Pick Six. Pick Six is the newest way for you to get in on the fantasy football action with DraftKings, and getting started is easy. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Pick Six app and sign up using code SD760. Now, you're just going to pick between 2 and 6 NFL players and choose if they're going to have more or less of a particular stat. For example, Travis Kelce, right now, this week, will he have more or less than 0.5 touchdowns? I mean, I'm going to say more. Jared Goff, more or less than 1.5 passing touchdowns? Obviously, way more. I mean, they're playing the Niners. What Ben Fletcher saying I'm number one over here. Patrick Mahomes, more or less than 1.5 touchdowns. It's easy to play along. That's what I'm saying, and it's super fun. I mean, you're in the game now. You got some skin in the game. Everything that happens in these games matters. And that's what I love about it. And you can track your lineup and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. Turn $10 into $250. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app right now and sign up with code SD760. That's code SD760. Only on DraftKings Pick Six. The crown is yours. Approved local P6 states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18+ in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick Six operates. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6 states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Hour number 3, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Wendy's. College hoops. San Diego State got a nice little win over Wyoming last night. Final score 81-65. Lamont Butler 23 points in the win. The boys are off until next Tuesday when they take on Colorado State at Colorado State. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he is now with the Las Vegas Raiders as their general manager. In the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night 127-116, and in golf, the Farmers Insurance Open tees off today at 8:50 a.m. this morning out at Torrey Pines. Wendy's basketball or Wendy's breakfast, 2 for $3 biggie bundles, lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, like a sausage or an egg and cheese biscuit, a small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary, not valid in a combo, single item at a regular price.
Yeah, welcome in Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Happy Hump Day to all of us.
Mike.
We have, as Fletch brought to your attention in the update there, not breaking news, not yet, but developing news in LA with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh looking to be a prohibitive favorite now, if you look at Vegas odds especially, to sign with the Chargers. So at first blush, when you start really thinking about what this means for the Chargers is, okay, this is the first real deal big boy signing they've made at head coach in a long time. They've got a real quarterback, and they've got some pieces around that team for sure. But also there's this stench of losing that has followed the Chargers up the 5 freeway since they left San Diego, and they've carried on the tradition of having near misses and almost and sometimes far misses in LA as well. So is Jim Harbaugh the guy who can really turn this around? Is Jim Harbaugh the person, the coach, the voice, the tone setter who can change things for the Chargers football program?
I mean, maybe. I would say it's a better shot than anyone else I would choose out there. I mean, unless you're Bill Belichick, obviously, you know, one of the most winning quarterbacks ever. He's about to break the record. But I mean, who else are you going to choose that would be better at this point? So, I mean, is he the guy? I would say you couldn't say no, but only time will tell. I mean, all the pieces have to fit. I think Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. He obviously has a winning pedigree in college. When you look at the NFL, there was a couple questionable years, but the Chargers on paper should be a fantastic team. So if you put the right skipper there at the helm, you think you could steer the ship in the right direction.
Still the Chargers. I will say the move to LA did not absolve them of any sort of curse, and this franchise is cursed. And the move to LA may have made it even a bigger curse because you stabbed a city in the back. But now Jim Harbaugh coming in, if he is coming in, I'm not 100% convinced yet, but certainly enough people out there are that it might sound silly if I keep doubling down on the fact that Jim Harbaugh will not be the next head coach of the Chargers. If he is the next head coach of the Chargers, they are not going to be as bad as they were this year. I promise you that. Jim Harbaugh is too good a coach from a simple X's and O's standpoint, and we know that the Chargers always have the Jimmies and Joes. How does that phrase go? But
they've got the Jimmies and Joes. They don't have the X's and O's.
Jim Harbaugh brings along the X's and O's. He's a fantastic head football coach at every single level he's been at. If they get him, it's hard to imagine this team not in the postseason every single year he's there. Now, I will say, that does not make them not the Chargers. Rich, you have been a part of teams on the Chargers that look like they should win a Super Bowl, and you lost in the playoffs. No offense to you. It wasn't your fault. It's just what happens.
Yeah, it's troubling, right? When you know you have a team that either has overperformed but caught fire at the right time, or you have a team that you know on paper should be able to do some damage in your division or your conference or across the league, and you underperform. There are a lot of excuses that you can make. You know, sometimes they're valid. You have too many injuries at too many key positions. You know, you run into a team at the wrong time or a couple of teams at the wrong time, or you're in an ultra competitive division all of a sudden. Like, okay, there are sometimes valid excuses. But when time and time again, the same franchises underproduce. The same franchises on paper look like world beaters and they underproduce. You have to change a philosophical you have to make a philosophical change. You have to change something philosophically. You have to look at it through a different paradigm.
Like the owner, you could change him.
Well, I mean, that is a paradigm shift for sure. But outside of a complete overhaul in terms of ownership, this is the biggest attempt. If they do hire Jim Harbaugh and they make the financial commitment to Jim Harbaugh, this is the biggest attempt in my lifetime, I would argue, that the Chargers have made at being a real team. And I'm not, look, there's a lot of people who feel really distraught over what they did to the city and they'll never root for them again. And I completely understand that. But for those who are rooting for the Chargers, or for the new fans that are finding themselves falling in love with this franchise and they haven't been introduced to the dark side, so to speak, yet, let me tell you, this would be like ground shaking, foundational changing stuff if you hire Jim Harbaugh, because he's a culture builder. Like, he's a real culture builder. We've seen it before. It flamed out in the NFL, but he has had success in the NFL.
So when the Dodgers first made the signing of Shohei Ohtani, I kind of went on this thing and I was like, it's so cool that the Dodgers are now paying a guy $70 million a year or $2 million a year, depending on how you look at it, to still get beat in the divisional round of the Major League Baseball postseason. If the Chargers go do this, they commit $125 million or whatever it ends up being to Jim Harbaugh, I think I'll have a similar reaction. It's really cool that the Chargers are spending all this money to flame out in the early rounds of the postseason. I just don't know that the Los Angeles Chargers, that's the name, the Los Angeles Chargers, even with Jim Harbaugh, will ever be able to get to or win a Super Bowl. I don't think it would ever happen.
Would you say that about the Browns? Would you say that about the Lions? I mean, these are now teams that are, to me, you look at and go, no, I mean, they have a team.
Well, what are the Browns doing right now?
Well, I get it.
They're in Cabo. What are the Lions going to be doing after Sunday? They'll be
getting ready for Super Bowl, I guess.
I just, there are certain franchises, and
flying out to Vegas.
I feel my entire life with the Chargers, I've seen teams that are good enough, but not good enough. And I think that will continue. Now, I also have some serious concerns about the roster moving forward. You think about the bedrocks of the Los Angeles Chargers roster right now, they're old, or in Derwin James's case, a tad disappointing. So where they go from here after you just fired your GM, I don't know. And does Jim Harbaugh have total control over that? Is he just going to be able to draft all the Michigan guys he wants? I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll find out if it happens or when it happens. And I don't know either. I mean, as we get more and more details of this, or I guess little nuggets that are being dropped on us, it sounds like there's going to be some interesting clauses here if Jim Harbaugh does take the reins.
Like,
out
he
in
can't
Los
be
Angeles.
Fired if any punishment comes around from the NCAA or any findings come out of the NCAA investigations.
Yep.
I would say that if I were Jim Harbaugh, I would be trying very, very hard to distance myself from any of the potential sanctions or punishments that will be passed down to, namely, Jim Harbaugh or the Michigan Wolverines football program. You know, focusing on a player as special as Justin Herbert, who over the course of his record, or I should say his career, his record is basically 500. I mean, look at Justin Herbert and compare his talent to some of the other great quarterbacks in the league, like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes, like Joe Burrow. You know, we start to think like, yeah, no, he looks more like them than he does like the Kirk Cousins of the league or the Jimmy Garoppolos of the league. He's more, well, look, Brock Purdy, I consider to be a top 10 quarterback. Ow! But apparently there's a lot of players there's a lot of people in this world who don't. I think a lot of them may be proven wrong in the NFC Championship game. I think he's going to obviously bounce back and play well. I shouldn't say obviously. I don't think that's obvious to a lot of people, but that's what I think. But moving back to Justin Herbert, like, he is that type of talent. Like, he needs to be lumped in with the top of the league. The biggest question I have is coming from Michigan after basically this program carried J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy was a complete afterthought. That was the Blake Corum show. That was the Donnie Edwards show down there with the Wolverines winning that national championship, and has been for years. Like JJ McCarthy, he could make some plays in certain big moments. And I'm not saying that he didn't help the Wolverines win that national title, but we're a long way away from the days of Colin Kaepernick running wild on the NFL and Jim Harbaugh being the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. So does it work with Justin Herbert? Because that is the most important question that the Chargers needed to ask themselves when they signed up to hire any head coach is this the best thing for Justin Herbert?
Now,
so is it?
Brandon Staley did the Chargers a lot of favors by losing the last 5 games of the season there, even though I don't even think he was head coach for most of those. But the Chargers do end up with the 5th draft pick because there's a group of teams that were 6-11. The Chargers were 5-12. So they end up in that 5 slot. If Jim Harbaugh is coming over, are we assuming, and maybe wrongly assuming, that he is going to be head coach and GM? Because remember, they fired Tom Telesco, who's got picked up by division rival, the Las Vegas Raiders. So if Harbaugh's coming in, is it total control Harbaugh, and is everyone just going to be okay with that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. I guess I understand the benefits of having total control. I understand the benefits for a Bill Belichick or a Jim Harbaugh to say, no, I want to be GM and I want to be head coach. But I guess, would I really want that? Do I really want all of that responsibility to where it all lies upon me? Or would somebody there be nice to at least bounce ideas off of?
Yeah, I agree with the idea that it sounds cool to be a general manager and a head coach. But have you ever worked in, I don't know, like Fletch, I know you worked in the restaurant industry. TD, have you ever worked in like a point of service position, like at a deli or a restaurant? Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that feeling, like when the host is off and you're also trying to be a waiter, or the tables need to be bussed, but you're also waiting tables who's worked in the food industry, or you work in the fast food industry and the fry guy is off and you're working the burger station, or like me, you grow up as a simple sandwich man working in a deli. And all of a sudden, not only are you cutting the cold cuts, but you're also building the sandwiches. Like all of a sudden what happens is there's a line. And what I'm trying to point to is when you're trying to do the jobs of 2 people, oftentimes what happens is you're forgetting about something. And in the case of like the food service industry, it's about the customers and it's about their service, and you're making them wait longer and people get frustrated. When it comes to football, like there's only 24 hours in the day. So when you're trying to do a job that completely consumes people as a general manager, but then you're also trying to be a head coach, legitimately, I think we only have one example of a guy who's sustained success doing that over the course of the history of the league, and that's Bill Belichick. So I don't think they're going to hand Jim Harbaugh the reins to be the GM too. In fact, they're still interviewing general manager candidates for that position to be filled. So I think he'll have help there. I'm just very curious if Justin Herbert becomes what we think he should become in terms of winning and postseason success under Jim Harbaugh. Can he make lightning strike twice at the NFL level? He certainly did it at the college level. He had success in the past at the NFL level. Does it work again? That's a big question that they need to answer. Talking about the Chargers, defensive coordinator, general manager Tom Telesco had been fired earlier this offseason or during the regular season when Brandon Staley was moved on from as well in LA. He has now signed to be the general manager in Las Vegas with the Raiders. So congratulations to Tom Telesco. One of the reasons why I'm here in San Diego, Tom Telesco signing me to the Chargers back in 2013. Also staying in the NFL, Joe Barry is out as Packers defensive coordinator after his defense held up well enough to help the Green Bay Packers advance to the NFC divisional round of the postseason, but not well enough this season. There were serious problems on the back end of that defense. And so he's out. Matt LaFleur and the staff over there in Green Bay looking for their next DC. And how about them Aztecs last night? Big win against the Wyoming Cowboys on the floor at Viejas Arena. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but Padres skipper Mike Schilt was in the viewing audience at Viejas Arena. How about that?
I did think it was interesting. Did you see the seats he was sitting in? Because at Viejas Arena, you could see the name of the season ticket holder whose courtside seat it is. He was in Ron Fowler's seats. Ron Fowler, who was not involved with the Padres as much, obviously still a huge donor to a lot of things around San Diego, a really great ambassador for the city. But Ron Fowler, his seats were occupied by Mike Schilt last night.
Well, he's still an operating partner with the Padres. He's still a big money man. He obviously has less of a stake than when he did prior to the Seidler takeover, where I think he was bought out of, a decision-making role on the staff. But Ron Fowler still obviously actively involved with the Padres and always has been actively involved with the San Diego State Aztecs. So yeah, all right. So Mike Schilt hopping in the owner seats. I like it.
Thoughts on Mike's quarter zip color?
What color did he wear?
Salmon.
I like it. I'm in on salmon.
I'll tell you right now. I call it medium rare, when I wear it, because I hate, like, people when they say, "Oh, you're wearing pink." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just wearing my favorite steak temperature." That's all. I think a man who can wear pink shows confidence. How about that?
Kendall always buys me pink shirts. I never wear them.
That's weird.
I want you to start wearing them.
Listen,
dude, pink is the worst for heavy armpit sweaters. It just really, it's like pink and light blue. Those colors do not work with people that sweat a lot out of their pits.
Pink and light blue both look good on me for whatever reason.
Do you sweat out of your pits?
On occasion. I mean, it's not like I'm just sitting in the control room sweating. While the AC's
every
on.
day of my entire life, TD. It's an issue you got to think about. You know what? Some of us have real struggles.
TD, it's your eyes. It's your eyes. Like the pink and the blue hues really. Yeah. You know what? Listen, we were going to get to red pill, blue pill on the other side. Maybe we should just scrap it and go Mike Schilt for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
I was thinking
what?
Maybe.
Yeah, I could do a solid on.
I thought we were doing red pill, blue pill right now.
Well, do we have time for it? I thought we were gonna have. I thought we were up against it.
4 minutes, man.
Okay, all right. Don't yell at me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What? I already started playing the music.
Is pink and salmon the same color? Because salmon's a little orangier.
Actually, good point. Yes, salmon.
Because I also own salmon shirts that I like a lot. Did you just kill the red pill, blue pill music because of the pink salmon debate?
That's the way it is. Pink and salmon the same color. Red pill, salmon, blue pill.
Also, wait a second. Is medium rare different from pink? Because now I'm starting to think about it. Is medium rare like a warm pink center?
Oh wow! So you need like it's like an ombre.
I'm so hungry.
Are we?
Listen, we have a little surf and turf.
Right. So we're trying to plan something that would involve steak. Are we not allowed to talk about that yet?
No. Well, actually, I think we're allowed to say this. This show is efforting to do something prior to Super Bowl 58 that we've never done before. We've never, ever done before.
Which is weird.
Yeah, exactly. And if there is something that this show, that Big Rich, TD, and Fletch should be involved in, it is this activity.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Like, yeah. I know I'm being vague here, but when we make the official announcement of what we're doing, what we're planning on doing the Friday before the Super Bowl, everybody's going to go, yeah, like that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Look at you.
When you brought up the
steak thing, this is a nice
thing,
way to tease this, though, to mark your calendars, because you're going to want to block out some time in the morning on the 9th of February.
When you brought up the steak thing, you know where my head went to?
What?
That text message from our very best friend in the entire world that we got a couple days ago.
Oh, my gosh.
We need to actually confirm that with him. You know what?
How about out of nowhere on a random Monday afternoon, we're all sitting in our houses and we get a text from Kevin Acey.
Yep.
Kevin Acey, who we promised to take out to dinner at some point this offseason. He reached out to us. He reached out to us to remind us.
Made me feel real small.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was almost like how the Grinch stole Christmas. My heart grew 3 times that day. I was so excited to hear from him.
I just started running around in circles, screaming. It was
My shirt was off
crazy.
Immediately.
Right.
Speaking of hearts, I'll tell you right now. And before we get to red pill, blue pill, because that's where Fletch was headed, right? I mean, we were worried about cardiac arrest. We were worried about lifelong pill-taking, cardiac medications because this man was so fat.
God, it was awful.
Oh, we had to
Oh my
look at him,
goodness.
and it made my eyes sting actually one time.
Ooh, man.
And then all of a sudden, we met these wonderful people. And Fletch, tell them what happened.
Can I tell you why I hate you guys sometimes? Because even when something like really good and positive happens in my life, all you do is tear me down over and over.
No, dude, these were all compliments.
What you don't want to do is like tear yourself down and then build yourself back up and tear yourself down and build yourself back up, because that would be like yo-yo dieting, which you don't want to do.
The Niners win a playoff game, and all I have to hear for 3 days is how much our quarterback sucks. I lose a bunch of weight, and all I have to hear about all day is you guys tell me how fat I was beforehand.
Listen, if the Niners if the Niners just cut out Brock, they'd lose a bunch of weight too.
And also, like Brock Purdy, just because he sucks doesn't mean his team sucks, right?
Doesn't.
Just like Wayne and Chloe from STFatloss.com.
Wayne and Chloe
they're
are
your weight loss team.
Wayne and Chloe are the Brock Purdy of weight loss. That's what I said.
No. They're like the Christian McCaffrey and the George Kittle of weight loss.
You're the Brock Purdy of weight loss. Okay, it just needs to be less of you.
Here's the deal. The three of us have lost a tremendous amount of weight. And also, here's the deal. It would not have happened had we not met with Wayne and Chloe over at STFatloss.com. We got a free consultation. They laid out the roadmap. We followed the roadmap because we're idiots. It was an easy roadmap, and we lost a bunch of weight. San Diego Fatloss.com, STFatloss.com is where you're going to go to get your free consultation with our team, which is Wayne and Chloe. You can also call 858-665-3211 to get that free consultation today. STFatloss.com, they've cracked the code. They've figured out the formula for not only quick weight loss, and believe me, it is quick, but lasting weight loss, as evident by all of us keeping off the 30-plus pounds that we lost. STFatloss.com is where you need to go. In like 3 weeks, all of us have lost 20 pounds. So if you got something on your calendar that's coming up that you want to be looking good for, you want to fit into that suit that you fit into a couple years ago, but you don't anymore because you're fat, get on over to STFatloss.com. That's where you need to go. You'll get a free consultation today. You'll talk with Wayne. You'll talk with Chloe. They will lay it all out for you on what you need to do, and then it's up to you. You got to be the one to do it. Are we going to say it was easy? No, but we had the map and we had the team to get it done, and we continue to get it done every single day because that's what STFatloss.com is. It will change your life for the better. The only thing you have to lose is
all those unwanted pounds.
Boom. He's so good at that.
Really good.
STFatloss.com, free consultation.
I was going to say, like, your car keys? I don't know.
What's coming up next, guys?
Red pill, blue pill. The hardest choice you'll have to make today is on the other side.
This update is presented by the Jim Betrell real estate team. Starting off in college hoops, Aztecs got a nice win over Wyoming last night. Final score 81-65. Lamont Butler pouring in 23 points. Their next game will be next Tuesday at Colorado State. In the NFL, former Chargers GM Tom Telesco, he's landed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Doc Rivers in the NBA, hired by the Milwaukee Bucks officially this morning. Also in the NBA, Clippers beat the Lakers last night 127-116. Over in golf, we are about 20 minutes away from the first tee times in the Farmers Insurance Open out at Torrey Pines. It's the unofficial start of the PGA Tour season for a lot of the big boys, and it happens here in San Diego. Aztec for Life, Xander Schauffele, he is the betting favorite to win the tournament. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Betrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Coming up this segment, we're going to be giving away those Bush tickets. You're listening to a little Bush right here. They're playing Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. That's going to be Friday, September 13th, livenation.com for more tickets and information. But just keep listening right here. We're going to give you a time to call in just a few minutes. Doing a little red pill, blue pill, the hardest choice you're going to make today. You got to stick with one of these for the rest of your life. So we'll kick it off here in the AFC West because a coaching decision could be made very shortly by the Chargers. They may hire Jim Harbaugh. Sources close to the situation are suggesting that they are very, very close to consummating the deal. So red pill, Jim Harbaugh, blue pill, Sean Payton. Which AFC West coach are you rocking with?
Been there, done that with Jim Harbaugh. He's been the head coach of my team before, and it was fun for a couple of years. I got to imagine the Saints fans had a lot more fun with Sean Payton for a lot longer time than Niners fans had with Jim Harbaugh. Give me Sean Payton all day long. What was that, red pill?
That was red pill, yeah.
Red pill.
Oh, wait. Oh, you take Sean Payton?
Sean Payton.
Okay, yeah, blue pill. You know what? I'm
Did I miss red pill, blue pill?
Already done.
Oh. No, yeah. We're wrapping this up. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We're about to give away that time for the Bush tickets in just a few minutes. All right, I'm going to take blue pill Sean Payton, and I agree with everything you said, but I'll just add this in. Since Jim Harbaugh last was seen in the NFL, a lot has changed, and I'm not saying that he can't change with the times, and maybe he will even have more success because he's been working with even younger players, and obviously the college football serves as the minor leagues of the NFL. But I'm going to go with the guy who's got more experience, Sean Payton. Give me him for the next 5 years or whatever over Jim Harbaugh.
Here's the tricky thing here, Rich, is TD already has one of these pills in his system. He is a Denver Broncos fan. He already has the blue pill halfway down. Would you rather have the red pill?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and jam my finger in the back of my throat, throw that thing back up. I think I like the red pill on this. I mean, it's okay, I guess, what I'm seeing out there in Denver with Sean Payton. It's not blowing my mind.
They overachieved.
Yeah, they did.
Five-game winning.
And Russell Wilson looked almost like, well, Russell Wilson actually, by the numbers, had a pretty good year, but it's the same kind of Kirk Cousins argument to me where, no, by the numbers, Kirk Cousins, he's amazing. But is Kirk Cousins going to be your pick if you're trying to pick up a quarterback? I just don't see the magic there. But just because of what I've seen with Sean Payton, I think I'd give Harbaugh a go here. I'm going red pill. Also, my God, this studio is ranked today. Just a heads up. Yeah. I mean, good Lord, what is happening?
You're the only one in there.
Dude, I just walked in late to the party here, and
At 8:30.
Right. That's right.
You poop in the corner again.
You know what? He's not potty. Then that's something that I want to talk to everybody about our new sponsor on the show. No, I'm kidding. All right. Moving on. Red pill, blue pill. This is the NFC Championship edition of Red Pill, Blue Pill. So obviously, because we love talking food, we love talking drinks on this show, we're going to take San Francisco against Detroit. And we're going to spin it slightly. Red pill, and then, again, this is for the rest of your life. San Francisco sourdough, a hot fresh loaf. Or blue pill, blue pill, Detroit style deep dish pizza. Are you taking the red pill or are you taking the blue pill? TV will start with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the problem I have is I'm not a huge sourdough fan. However, like a fresh loaf of sourdough,
Could you imagine that smell?
oh my god,
Instead of the smell that you
it is so good. I mean, it is so good. The other thing is, so if I go Detroit style pizza, can I still have Chicago style pizza? I mean, can I still have New York style pizza? I guess that's where I feel like I have more options here. Ah, I guess I take the red pill. I go sourdough.
I swear to God, I'm not lying here. If this had been like Detroit's famous thing was sourdough and San Francisco's famous thing was pizza, I am completely taking my fandom out of this. I'm going sourdough all day. Dude, seriously, guys.
I thought I knew what show I was on. I thought I knew. I was thinking this is going to be the quickest decision anybody's ever made ever in the history of
Let me
ever.
throw this out to you, Warmburger. One of these was on the best bracket ever. One of them wasn't. Fresh baked bread was on the best bracket ever.
I want everybody to pump their
And Detroit style pizza, not that good.
okay. I mean, like,
I'm not
you're
eating
at your
soup. How about it? What if it's a sourdough loaf that you turn into Detroit style pizza?
That was another one of my arguments.
I'm obviously taking blue pill, and I'm going to throw up. I thought I knew who my friends were. Moving right along. AFC Championship quandary here, okay? And we're going to take the matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to spin it into something food-related. Red pill for the rest of your life. Maryland blue crab. Blue pill, KCBB.
All right, we can just say this on three, right? 1, 2, 3. Blue pill.
KC barbecue. Yeah,
KC barbecue.
that was not
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah,
Listen, you guys ever been to a crab boil?
No.
Ever been to a crab boil?
They're awesome.
I've had crab once in my life. That's it. I don't ever need it again.
Oh my God, the three of us need to go to Vegas. We need to go to like the Caesar's buffet and we need to just eat all the crab legs we can possibly stuff in our faces. It'll change your life.
So I've had lobster once. I've had crab once. Both times I thought, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, like I'd rather drink the little tray of butter than eat the crab.
Dude, Rich, we should do like a lobster and crab boil or barbecue or what, and have one for TV, like in the parking lot.
God, I feel like a lobster is like the cockroach of the sea.
So good. It's so decadent. Yeah,
I'll take you down to H Mart. We'll pick out our own lobster. It'll be great.
This summer, promises made, promises kept. I will host the Big Rich crab boil in the parking lot. I've done this before. I mean, it's so amazing. It's basically like Old Bay in a pot filled with water. You got some sliced up corn cob. You got some turkey cracker. Oh my gosh, we can.
Turkey. We know how to use that.
We did it. We didn't blow up. We didn't blow up the building
We
either.
set anything on fire.
We could do this on the roof. Which they
Oh,
love
oh,
it when we
oh,
go up.
They do love it
Yeah,
when we go.
we actually have neighbors upstairs now. I don't think we did it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You don't remember? They were the ones who came up and said, do you have a fire license to be using that blowtorch?
And we
Nerds.
said no.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, of course, it's inside. We always keep our licenses. Right.
Yeah. Right next to our fire extinguisher.
It's for throwing pumpkins off the roof.
Last red pill, blue pill. Celebrations can take on many different forms. Okay, so we have a lot of big games coming up this weekend. None of them oddly in baseball, all of them football related. Red pill, you want to celebrate the big game by going to a tailgate? Blue pill, are you going to a watch party?
Tailgate all day long. Look,
Ooh.
you guys, there's something special that happens in tailgating, and you get drunker quicker. It just happens. I don't know how, but you have like 2 or 3 beers at a tailgate. You're feeling real good. You're feeling real confident when you're throwing those cornhole bands, and the barbecue tastes a little better for whatever reason. You're on a crappy little Coleman grill or something that's just sitting on the back of your truck bed, but the burgers that come off of that, seasoning or not, are better than like the most expensive burger you can buy in the world. Tailgating is a special place reserved for moments like this. What we have coming up this weekend. I got the house to myself this weekend. I might go out to our parking lot on Michigan Bridge Road and tailgate by myself because of how much I love tailgating.
You know what? I mean, you said a lot of things that were absolutely correct there.
You have a tear in your eye?
I do. I'm tearing up a little bit. However, watch party, you also got to think like, I mean, there's this lazy boy. You can sit down in for a sec, jump
Lawn
up,
chair, tailgate.
Okay, you can walk into the kitchen. I can have some ruffles and onion dip.
Being in the bushes, the tailgating.
Okay, I get it. Listen, I'm with you. I'm just saying, watch party. There's a lot of strong. You know, I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the living room. I'm in the garage. I got multiple in the backyard.
Yeah, your
I got
uncle's
multiple
farting on
places.
the lazy boy right next to you. It smells like baby poop.
Then I go to the kitchen. I grab a hot wing. However, what you said about a burger coming off the tailgate barbecue or a hot dog coming off of that little hibachi grill, there is something so magical about eating that outdoor burger, outdoor hot dog. It's a little chilly outside. The burger's warm in your hand.
Yeah.
The lettuce is ice cold, but the burger's red hot.
You take your first bite and you're like, oh, hot.
I go
Yeah,
red
you
pill
got to move it
tailgate.
around.
Red pill tailgate.
Okay, I'm going blue pill, and I'll tell you why. It's
Loser.
not because of the positives. Hang on. It's because of the negatives. Now, you mentioned TD, or I think it was Fletch, actually. Like, okay, yeah, being in the bushes, really cool. But what happens if, I don't know, somebody undercooked the chili? Or, geez, that queso didn't necessarily agree. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I got no good choices here, so I'm going to make some bad ones. Unless you're at somebody's house and there's a bathroom within walking distance. When you're at a tailgate, really honestly, if you have an emergency on your hands, you're ruining somebody else's tailgate. Let's be honest with each other.
That is absolutely true. That is a solid point. This is one of those red pill blue pills where, I mean, if I accidentally picked up the blue pill, I wouldn't be too mad.
Yeah. Like, this isn't the blue pill that you would have to wrap in like salami to feed to your dog.
Right.
Like this is a blue pill that you'd be happy
This
well.
is sometimes you do these and it's like bad or bad, and
Yeah,
then this one is.
Let me just close your eyes. It is a 35-degree morning in San Diego. We don't get those very often, but if we did. So instead of say this game being played in San Francisco this week, this game being played at Snapdragon Stadium, you guys stay the night at my house. We have years the night before. I live right there. We can walk. So we don't walk. We take the truck. We have Kendall park the truck for us, so that none of us have to worry about drinking and driving. We pop open the back of that taco lot. We put the hibachi grill on. We light it up. We're having a game catch, damn it. We're having a game catch in the parking lot. You can see the breath coming out of our mouth. And then what's that? That is the sizzle of the first patty hitting the barbecue. And oh my God, is my mouth watering? I think it is. Oh, Fletch, you bring barbecue sauce and ketchup? You know I do. Are those onion rings going in the deep fryer? You have a deep fryer in your truck? You know I do. And all of a sudden, what's the game, boys?
The dangerous trip
You reach
home.
your hand in. And those mountains are icy blue.
Oh, that's
The mountains are.
She drove us over there, and then she walked home. We kicked her out. You go home.
You pop the lid on your first tour flight of the day, and you drink it. And everything is right there.
You know, I grew up with blue pill, and I'm taking that red pill. Not the tailgate place. Oh, you know what though? Actually, I would love to go to the tailgate, run and go see first. This is Dr. Jordan Colby over at Ocean.
You want to get those choppers in order if you're going to be at the tailgate. You know what I'm saying?
To be perfectly honest with you, one of my favorite tailgate foods is like a steak sandwich. Like when somebody grills up a couple steaks and then they bring a cutting board and then they're chopping it up and they throw it in the sandwich with a little roasted red pepper, caramelized onion, maybe a little horseradish, creamy horseradish. Oh my God.
And you wanted to go to a house party.
Okay, all right. I understand. I wouldn't have been able to steak sandwich before meeting Dr. Jordan Colby. That's not a lie. I was missing 3 molars. I mean, how embarrassing is that? For years, I had a couple of extractions done a couple of years ago, and then I had one more that needed to be done. I needed to have 3 implants put in. I mean, dental things. Nobody's going to lie to you and tell you it's a fun time. But when you get dental work done, what you want is somebody who can make the process as comfortable as possible, somebody who's a trained professional in the field, somebody who is going to send you to every other office so that I don't know, they can help out their friends with a bunch of referrals. You want to go to somebody like Dr. Jordan Colby over at Ocean View Dental because literally every appointment I have leading up to my oral surgery, having this tooth taken out and these implants put in, happened at Ocean View Dental right there in Oceanside. I had this beautiful view of the water while he was doing his work. It was virtually pain free for me. I mean, I'm telling you, there was maybe 12 hours of discomfort, and I was right back to work the next morning. In fact, I went on a short vacation immediately following having all of this work done, and I felt fine. I was at the lake, I was fishing, I was having a nice time with the family. I wasn't thinking about my mouth because Dr. Jordan told me to take care of everything. But if you're having a procedure done, large or small, he's the dentist for you and for your family. So if you're thinking to yourself, "Gosh, it's 2024, we just reset the insurance. I want to find somebody who's in my network, in my plan, or I just want to change. I want to find a dentist who I actually enjoy going and visiting as opposed to scheduling appointments with." You need to sign up over at Ocean View Dental with Dr. Jordan Colby. OceanViewDental.net. He has all of the latest advancements in dental technology. It's not one of those old school clinics where they don't have anything there and they refer you out. He can get it all done in house. That's oceanviewdental.net, oceanviewdental.net. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. We are wrapping up another. Geez, I would argue top 5 radio broadcasts
like,
all time.
of like in the history of radio, not just with
like
us.
it's weird. It's weird to do this on such a consistent basis. Like we've had 2 top 5 broadcasts in the same week. I'm embarrassed. It kind of feels like we're putting on airs.
It's only Wednesday. It's only Wednesday.
It's only we did not give away the time to call in for those Bush tickets because we're idiots. So let's do this right now. 856 at 877-767-476. You got to call in directly at 856 at 877-767-4760 if you want to win those Bush tickets for the Cal Coast Credit Union show September 13th. You're going to need to call in directly at 856 and be called number 5 to win the pair of Bush tickets. You can go to livenation.com for more tickets and information. Bottom of the barrel time, though. All the
Rich,
stories
one
we missed.
One sec.
What?
I don't know. Something special just happened, TD. I don't know if you noticed.
What?
Here in studio, we have the phone number right in front of us.
Oh yeah,
Rich just ripped that off by heart.
I was thinking
all the hate that you've spewed about that phone number, Rich. You had it memorized.
Listen, 877 Sorg 760 rolls off the tongue, so it's easy to remember.
I like it's almost like I don't know. It's like that food item when you're a kid. You're like, oh, this is gross. Like tomatoes are slimy, and then you grow up and you're like, I'll tell you what, they taste great on an Italian hoagie.
Still
You know,
tomatoes.
See,
No tomatoes, no pickles, no crab, no lobster. No fun. Oklahoma is no fun. That's what I'm saying. Oklahoma's trying to pass a bill right now that would make it illegal to send any sort of sexy selfies or of the massive amount of inappropriate content that we send back and forth to ourselves. It would be illegal unless you're married.
Does that include milk videos?
Probably,
that's
yeah.
the majority of our text chain between the three of us.
There's a lot of milk. There's a lot of ooze. There's a lot of gushing.
Buildings falling down in reverse.
Right.
That's right. The Leaning Tower of Pisa not leaning anymore. Wow. Right. Let me comment on Oklahoma for a second. Like, what kind of backward 1950s beaver cleaver thinking is this, Oklahoma? Like, I mean, what the hell are you doing?
Shut up, nerds.
The iPhone 15 is out, right? The reason why the front camera is so good is to see nipples, both man and women. I'm positive. Right.
That's
It
why it was manufactured.
Can we figure out the Oklahoma governor's phone number and start sending him selfies?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yes.
Well, that stinks. What also stinks is there was a flight going from Phoenix to Texas that they had to stop and turn around because there was a passenger who was excessively farting, and it smelled so bad they couldn't make it to Texas.
And they dropped that passenger off in the San Diego Sports 760 studio.
He's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Horse name is Travis Dale.
Yeah, it could be a G.
Well, thank you to Rich and to his in-laws for having him there. We do have those Bush tickets that are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Line's already lit up.
Lines up. Also, thanks to John.
Thank you to John. Yeah, listener John. He goes by Cadillac John. His last name starts with a D. John D. For sending in some awesome treats for us. I think it was a belated Christmas present. I sent you an email last night, John. Thank you so much for sending those in.
That it's already gone. Yeah, some pistachio brittle is gone in my house. That's tasty. Thank you so much, John.
We ate literally all of it as soon as I walked through the door. Awesome time. Okay, coming up tomorrow, obviously more of this nonsense on a Thursday. The Herd is next. Keep it right here.